Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for TWiT specials is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com. This is TWiT Live Special number 309, recorded Wednesday, October 26th, 2016. Microsoft's Windows 10 and Surface announcement. This TWiT Live Special is brought to you by Blue Apron. Blue Apron will send you fresh, high-quality ingredients to cook delicious meals with simple step-by-step instructions right to your door. See what's on the menu this week and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/twit. That's blueapron.com/twit. Well, a good day, everybody. It's time to head to New York City for Microsoft's October Surface event. Hello, I'm Leo Laporte, and it's time for a TWiT Live Special. Joining me right now from Windows Weekly, Paul Thurrott. Great to see you. He stayed home in Dedham today.
I know. I should have done this from bed. Actually, let me turn off that.
Believe me, if I could have, we would have. There you go. Nah, it's better. Now it's dark.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Now your background fits the day outside here. I have never done an event this early on TWiT. It's almost 7 a.m. Not even 7 a.m. West Coast time. The event is in New York City, though, so it begins in just a few minutes. Also with us, Ed Bott is here from ZDNet. Great to see you, Ed.
It is a pleasure, Leo.
I see
and Paul.
The sun has come up behind
sir.
you. Mary Jo Foley is in the event, and for those of you who are curious, we do think there'll be, as often there is, a hands-on demo after the event, and then Paul and Mary Jo will join us a little late, about noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, for a Windows Weekly later today. Meanwhile, what are we waiting, Paul, what are we expecting? I've seen rumors, but we don't know. Do we know anything?
Well, we can't know with any certainty, but I think the fact that it's called a Windows 10 event suggests we're going to learn about the next version of 10. I would imagine we're going to hear some Windows holographic stuff. And then there have been persistent rumors about a Surface All-in-One device. I think those are valid. I think we discussed earlier, I was told explicitly no phone, no Pro 5, no Book 2, but it doesn't mean they couldn't upgrade the existing devices, I guess. But I've heard nothing about that either. So
Yeah.
Lots of speculation.
Yeah. What would a new Windows, this would be Sumner Redstone 2?
Yes. Well, 1703 or whatever they'll eventually call it. Yeah.
And Mary Jo was saying because of the code number 1703, we assume it'll be out in March.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is
we'll see.
This is Microsoft's new thing, right? There's really no new. No, is this your sense of it, Ed? There's not going to be any more new versions of Windows, just regular updates to Windows.
Correct. And they're trying to get on a cadence of 2 updates per year. They did 1 this year, and they'll have probably 2 next year, 1 in March and then 1 at the end of the year. And that, I think, is the schedule that they're trying to get on. But yeah, it'll be, and it's not even going to be 10.1, 10.2, and so on. It's they're actually following the Ubuntu model.
I'm surprised they don't promote that more.
That is literally true in terms of the naming of the versions.
So Ubuntu was 16.04, and they just updated to 16.10. They jumped by 6.
Yeah, and Ubuntu also has the twice a year, once in the spring, in April, once in the fall, in October,
right.
And Microsoft appears to be on the same cadence with the same naming strategy.
More and more, I think Microsoft's merging with Ubuntu. We are, just as a program note, we are going to do what we always do. There is a live stream from New York City, and as soon as it begins, which is about to, we will go there. If you wish to watch without our commentary, Microsoft is, of course, making that available. Don't complain if you're watching it with our commentary. That's what you've signed up for. And it looks like they're beginning with a promotional video. We don't build Windows for all of us. We build Windows
features for people that have a range of abilities.
They use the command line interface, apparently.
Yeah, well, it's more Ubuntu.
For me, one of the
it's all about the bash shell.
Things even today after 15 years at Microsoft is how we're inventing new experiences.
When we sat down and we were focusing on those with low vision and no vision, we decided really we need to work on performance
To start narrator, I'm going to hold down the Windows key and press enter.
Window, start window, search box. Speed increase 65%. Speed increase 75%. Speed increase 80%.
So right now we're at about 80% of capacity of how narrator could speak. And this is about how I would use my computer. That probably sounds like gibberish, but once you get used to this, it's pretty quick.
One of the things that we spend a lot of time looking at is how do you really help a developer be immersed in what it means to be blind? We built in the developer mode in narrator.
Caps lock, shift, developer mode enabled.
So now you can see that we've blanked the screen. So I'm going to press H to jump to the first header.
Heading level 1, go to Bing homepage.
And it will kind of immerse you in what that is like to not see wrap.
Click down to change to suggestions view.
Across many
It's an
applications
interesting way
when
to
you're
start the
typing, whether
event, huh?
it's-
Yeah, I'm surprised a
Is that
little bit.
accessibility?
Yeah, accessibility is a very important thing, but is it the most important thing?
Selected.
It's the first
Well, I
time
mean,
that
is
we're
it even
building
something
that level
Windows
of
is particularly good
accessibility
at?
into both our screen reader and our
It
application.
has been something that they have invested a tremendous amount in through the years.
Move button. Set flag button.
Xbox looked closely at how they can diversify how people represent themselves. And so you'll see a new set of avatars so that someone can select an avatar that looks more closely to themselves.
So with Windows 10, the Edge team really wanted to do our part.
Showing
to
avatars,
make
a couple of people in
accessibility great
chairs.
on the web.
Enter.
Whether they need a screen reader, whether it's high contrast, whether it's keyboard only.
It's a feel-good
Level
thing.
3,
It's
Dragon
nice to
It was
begin
really
with.
about making it more
Feel good.
usable
It's
and more
inclusive.
intuitive for all of
Well,
us.
and if they're saying we don't
So
build
in
it for all of us, we
future,
build
I
it for
think
each
the
of us, I
key
guess this is
really
how you
matching the
show what that
ability
means, right?
of the technology to the ability of
I hope
the
I didn't
person.
just see Windows
So
Live
everybody
photo
can
gallery there for a second. That's what that looked like.
No. They wouldn't do that to you. Small group in this event, right?
Thanks so much for being with us here
I don't
today.
know. What do you think? 100 people?
Doesn't
Less?
look very
I've seen that
big.
video
Yeah.
a
Nice
few
chairs,
times
though.
now. And every single time I watch it, I just feel so lucky to be part of
That's,
this
of
tech
course,
industry.
Terry Myerson.
Because what unites all of us is this driving belief that technology can actually serve each of us. The triumph of truly human-led design, like you just saw, is that each of us gets to reap the benefits of technology. That each of us is included and welcome.
Terry's the top
And
executive
that
in
each of
charge
us
of
can make
Windows,
our
right?
mark on the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
For the business.
I'm so
that
incredibly
includes
proud
Windows.
of our team for throwing their personal passion, their experience, and their very best creativity into each successive new innovation. At Microsoft, we challenge each of our software developers and hardware designers, each of our artists and audio talent, each of our production and quality engineers to deliver on our mission to empower every person and every organization on the planet.
You're also doing
to
a
achieve
live
more.
text translation of what he's
I'm Terry
saying.
Myerson.
Oh, yeah, there it is. I
Anyone in the
see it.
audience?
Super,
Team at
super
Microsoft.
Yeah,
I'm so
that's
excited
nice.
to show you what we've been working on. When we think about the billion people all around the world using Windows, we realize that each of us is so multidimensional.
There you can see the super
Each of us
text.
has different interests and talents, careers and roles. Each of us is multi-layered. Think about yourself. You may be a gym rat
I
and
don't
a
see
gamer,
a signer, though, for the
a
deaf.
student
So
and a professional, an artist and an architect.
maybe that's in
A
lieu
fantasy
of that.
football player and a soccer dad. You might be someone who invents solutions out of sheer necessity or makes art out of this driving need to make the world a better place. What unites all of us is that we are creators of our individual lives. As creators,
Creators
we
for
need
you bingo
technology
players.
that spans all facets of our lives, both work and play. And we're truly inspired by every person
Are there
using our
satellite
products.
events of this, or is this the only
Consider Saif.
live event?
He's a
I
college
think this is
freshman
it,
in
unless
Bangladesh,
they're doing stuff
a computer
internationally.
programmer, a cyclist.
I'm not
and a
aware of any.
total
Yeah.
Windows 10
That was a
superfan.
very small room.
I mean, seriously, when Saif was just 15 years old,
But of course they
he
stream
joins
it.
the Windows Insider program and starts
Glad they
emailing
do.
me daily with his
Well,
ideas.
There's
there's
the,
been a switch there with events, by the way. They used to do a lot of big events, and they don't really believe in that anymore, and they can pump this out over the internet. So
By the way, notice the
Windows 10
T-Rex with the
laptops
Nyan cat on the
United
top and the
Nations
Windows
Shake It Up
flag and the
process
little...
to help
Yeah.
people
That's a new
in
kind of accessibility he
areas
has
in India.
for his short little arms. He
These are
has a...
creators
Sure.
who are using
he
technology
needn't be
to build a
embarrassed
better
by
world.
that.
Needn't be, no longer. Yeah.
Or consider Carrie. She's a 10-year-old girl, a soccer player, a gamer, and a cancer survivor. Her father reached out to us on LinkedIn and shared that Xbox was a brilliant part of her recuperation. She didn't just play Xbox One to occupy herself. She played FIFA, Forza, Minecraft with her friends to strengthen her friendships while
Really,
recovering
this
from
is,
her treatment. This is a creator who is building a
interesting
community with technology.
angle here, since Microsoft is kind of considered an enterprise company. We've even talked about on Windows Weekly Enterprise moving even more in the enterprise direction. This is not about enterprise at all.
No, it's important to remember though the business he runs is called More Personal Computing, and so they're really kind of approaching this from a human standpoint, which is probably pretty smart.
This is a creator who is building revolutionary new ways to educate all types of students. So however many layers represent you, whatever hats you wear, whenever you work, wherever you reveal yourself, we build Windows to be your place to create and play. Windows is your think tank, your office,
create and play,
your studio. It's your archive, gallery, and workshop. It's your arena. It's your sanctuary. And above all, Windows is your kitchen table where everything just gets done.
Really?
With Windows, we want to create
reminds
real
me of
depth
the Facebook is a chair commercial.
How we work,
Microsoft would like to get in on your sanctuary.
And together.
If Microsoft is a table, then Facebook is a chair. Where does this leave everybody
laying
else?
The foundation with Windows Ink and the pen, with Windows Holographic and HoloLens.
No, please do not put your Surface Pro where you're kneading your dough.
And because we understand that your information is digital treasure in this online world, we've been continuously updating Windows to secure your identity, your information, and your devices. Today, we are so humbled by the over 400 million people that are now using Windows 10.
Humbled was on my bingo card.
Nice. Every minute of every hour of every day for the last year.
You might be able to get a whole line with just that one word.
200 billion hours of their lives on Windows 10. There's been a 500% increase in gaming on Windows 10. And there are now three times as many developers building apps for Windows 10. And because we're so inspired by Saif,
over Windows 8,
Perry, Pearson, and countless other creators who rely on Windows 10,
they made a big gaming push since then.
Okay, so 5 times increase. That's
15
impressive.
months and 400 million users later, we are going to multiply your productivity with creativity. We're going to magnify gaming with state-of-the-art competition. So today, I'm so excited to announce the next release of Windows 10 that will ship this coming spring for free to every Windows 10 device, whether you own one now or buy a great new one this holiday. You're going to find unparalleled new ways to create and play. You're going to find new experiences that place your most important people right at the center of your digital life. And you're going to find new experiences for the creator in everyone. And that is why
they're going to call this the creator
this
update.
Release the Windows 10 Creators Update.
Wow.
Yeah, a Creators Update. Interesting.
Wow. Huh. That's very interesting.
Yeah, that's
good. The anniversary update and now the Creators Update.
Yeah. So maybe interesting.
Everything in the update.
That's Redstone 2, of course, the code name of it.
This morning. So we're going to focus on the 3 most important areas in the Creators Update. First, we're expanding on our vision for mixed reality, which includes virtual reality, augmented reality, and holographic computing with 3D for everyone. So each of us can create, share, and experience 3D and mixed reality.
It's actually a smart move to
gamers can experience the best in 4K
name
gaming
the version of Windows in a way that kind of is an advertisement, a pitch for what it does.
A faster way to connect and share with the people who matter most.
That is a very limited audience, though. That's my only issue with
it's not even the biggest audience of Windows users.
Let's take a look at the first.
Not even close.
Empowering everyone to be a 3D creator. Microsoft Office on Windows has
it's almost
always
as if they're going after the massive market share of
We're
Macintosh.
The silent partner who's always working in the background.
Plus a market
it is
that
very
doesn't
much.
exist.
It is very much in direct
Today,
contrast
for most
to the
of us,
consumption.
Productivity is defined by 2D emails.
Good point. Creators versus consumption. Very good.
Spreadsheets and slides. We think in 2D. We grew up with 2D color by number. We output in 2D. Yet the next generation is growing up with 3D right from the start. Last month, I attended Minecon, our annual Minecraft event, with 14,000 attendees. I watched thousands of kids interacting fluidly with their 3D Minecraft worlds. editing in 3D with
Who is
ease.
Terry talking to
Moving
right
around
now?
the 3D world is natural.
No, I'm just obviously he's talking to a small group of press in the audience, but what is
update? We asked ourselves,
what is the I see the message now, but who is he talking to?
Well, they're staking a claim here, right? It's very interesting. It's probably an attempt to make augmented reality or mixed reality more mainstream. One thing.
But it's not. It's so far from ready, though. The HoloLens is so far off.
Pioneering our 2D to 3D journey within Microsoft to show you the possibilities with the Windows 10 Creators Update.
I mean, he's right about Minecraft. I've watched kids do this as well. It's incredible.
Yeah,
you can say
I agree.
We've been at it for quite
I don't know
It's
how
also
that
not
translates
exclusive to Windows.
What
Well,
begins
Microsoft
as a
owns it,
tiniest
but
flicker of an idea has the power to evolve into something you'd never expect.
so we're seeing a young
Every
adult
day, we get the chance to look around and wonder.
playing.
This is how we get to Asimov's robot novels in real life.
How can we bring our ideas to life?
She was holding a phone. I wonder what phone it was.
Creativity is a part of us.
Well,
It's
they are
woven
agnostic
into our
on
DNA.
mobile hardware these days.
Once we allow
It is a
our
Windows
boldest
event,
ideas
though.
out,
It's interesting.
they can find their place in the world. And our world is three-dimensional.
And their advertising has been targeting
full of perspective,
iPad
shape,
for
and
certain.
depth. So, isn't it time we started using all of those dimensions? 3D helps us to see more, to create more, to understand each other. Technology is my canvas and my source for inspiration. Now, it's given me a place for new ideas to take shape. 3D means sharing with one another in a totally different way.
It's a new way of cave
We've
painting.
always been creators.
Yeah.
So she's
And our
Is that
next
the new?
evolution
Was that the new
is
Paint
here.
app?
oh,
That's
that's,
what I was just
we've been
wondering. I think
expecting.
so.
Yeah. There
So
we go.
creating 3D and 2D.
Yeah. I have a new speaker coming out.
Humanity's progress has always been marked by our creativity. Creativity is a
This is
fundamental
Megan Sanders
human
or Saunders.
need. We create to evolve as a
Title
species,
apparently is Experiences
to
at
express
Microsoft.
our biggest ideas. We create to solve problems, and we create to tell our stories and to stimulate our minds. At Microsoft, we believe if we can empower the world with 3D, we will unlock a new era of creativity that can enhance your ideas and your storytelling. A new era of innovation that allows you to work seamlessly across your screens and into the physical world around you. A new era of computing that enables each and every person on the planet to achieve more. I'm Megan Saunders, and today we're going to show you how anyone can create, share, and experience 3D.
Her LinkedIn profile says she's a
proud to
general
announce that the
manager at
Windows 10
Microsoft. She came from
Creators
the
Update.
Xbox.
I'd like to know why I want to do this, not just how I do it.
Right.
You know?
It's up to you to figure out why, Paul.
Well,
Now,
justify
everyone has
it,
a big
that's all.
goal, so where do we begin? Let's take a look at a video featuring our next generation of creators.
She's been at Microsoft for
Come on in.
20 years.
This thing is just packed with videos as an Apple event.
Yeah. A lot more than an Apple event, even.
When I
This
first
is-
heard 3D, I was like,
Well, it's
it'll
easier to
probably be
control
really
the
hard to,
demo.
like, bubble light
Yes.
when I saw
Yeah.
this. I was
Yes.
like,
Yep.
whoa.
Look at
You don't have
that.
to worry about things not working.
So this is obviously the new paint,
We
and
think
it's very
that if
3D
we can
focused.
enable the creation of 3D content easily for people, that we can unlock a whole new ability for the way that they can create and for the way that they can learn new things.
It's a lot more accessible and it feels more modern. You don't have to be an expert because literally in like 5 minutes or less, I was just making whatever I wanted.
Other 3D programs have like giant toolbars at the top.
I mean,
and it's
I'm going
hard
to get really
find just
cynical on
one
this
thing
very
to
quickly.
do.
I just don't
You
understand
just
why
click
I
on
would
the
do
object
this.
and all of
So
the
what is
options
the
just
aim
pop up
here?
instantly.
Well,
Be able to mix
I would guess the
3D
goal for
images
Microsoft
with
is
3D
to kind of
images.
seed a lot of content that HoloLens eventually
No, I
will
mean,
take
would I,
advantage
as a
of.
human
But why
being,
would
like,
you,
what's-
as a consumer,
I-
use it? I agree. It's not.
Magic selection tool, which I
3D makes a great demo.
Take a photo from real life and put it into my art.
In that
Yeah. I mean, I
playful
assume these things will look great
creating their learning
HoloLens.
Maybe there's I don't know, I'm not in touch with what's going on in middle school and high school these days. Maybe maybe the young folk are.
Well, I am, Leo. Let me tell you what's going on. They have no money. And they use Chromebooks because they're cheap and they're poor. It's there's no high-end 3D modeling going on, that's for sure.
It does show off the hardware's capability. That's a hard thing to do.
York City behind
But
it.
you're right.
3D
printing. All right, there we go. She's just printed a Statue of Liberty.
The drawing. I always wanted to work in 3D, and now I can. 3D is for everybody.
See, Paul?
Always wanted to work in 3D. Exactly.
She's always wanted to.
There you go.
Intuitive, simple,
inspirational.
Look, there are awesome applications of this. They're going to be able to make body parts this way. You design them in 3D and print them out. Auto parts, mechanical parts, whatever. Right now we see little toy airplanes and trees.
80% of people aged 12 to 24 believe that creativity is one of the most important things. And in fact, they value it.
And how many Minecraft users are there? Because I think that's important. 100 million, something like that, maybe more.
Sure.
And I think this is a way to say, go from Minecraft to mainstream.
One of the reasons Minecraft is so popular is it's like Lego. It's blocks. It's easy 3D.
Not to mention it's low resolution, which is great because this stuff is going to be tough in the early days.
And to enable them
just
on a
to
path
render.
that they might not have otherwise chosen. So let's begin with creation. If we truly want to make 3D for everyone, then we need to make 3D creation as simple as taking a photo or a video on your phone.
So Adobe has already done a lot
Imagine,
of work.
if you will, that I am on vacation and I have gone to visit my brother who lives in San Diego near the beach. And I just watched my daughters, Maddie and Marina, make this beautiful sandcastle. And I want to capture what they created. And today I would be limited to taking a photo or a video.
It's a Windows
But
phone,
let's take
by
a
the
look
way.
at it anyway.
Yeah. It's a 950.
No,
I'm
it's
going to
that
show
HP,
you how we can capture this
EWC.
castle, this sandcastle, with our
I agree that we don't
Windows
celebrate our
Capture
children's
3D
achievements enough, so this is nice.
I want a 3D printing of that sandcastle.
Now here you can see the sandcastle is taking
I got a
shape in front of me.
graduation certificate just for going to the beach.
I'm not only taking something
This duplicates
from the
a Adobe
physical
product
world
that's been out on
and
the
making it digital.
iOS platform.
I'm also
for
taking
couple
something
of
that
years
would have
now.
been temporary and making it permanent. We all know that as the sun goes down
And
at the end of
Adobe's
the day,
already got the
you have
connector
leave
to
your
a 3D
sandcastle
printing
behind.
technology, so you can
But
do exactly
with the magic
this.
of scanning, we can take
And
this
print it out.
temporary memory and save it forever. Today, I used HP's Windows Phone, the X3, but we envision this experience on any
That's
device.
pretty cool. Did a good job.
Now there it is. I just made a 3D object using my real world for inspiration.
And there was a
But what
little,
if I wanna get a little more
implication in there that they are going to be releasing this
very
software for other
special member
platforms as
of the
well.
Windows family.
Yeah.
Paint is a phenomenally popular app. Over 100 million people use it every month. It is also a program with a lot of history. Over its 30 years, Paint has appealed to generations of aspiring digital
Yeah,
artists.
she said we envision this experience on
For
any
many of
device.
us, Paint was the first digital arts package
presume
that
that
we
doesn't
ever
mean any
used.
Windows Phone
Its
device.
simplicity enabled everyone to create in 2D. I am excited to announce that with the Windows 10 Creators Update, we are introducing Paint 3D.
Yep, that's exciting. Woo! It's weird, Windows 10 has 3D, what's it called?
Now,
The
some
3D
of you
printer app.
might have had a chance to preview
His name has escaped me for some
but
reason.
For the rest of you,
Builder?
I'd like to demonstrate
3D Builder.
how we're
This is
making
kind of the
3D
input to that
creation
app's
easy for
output,
everyone.
I guess, right?
Right,
Now,
exactly.
the most common scenario in Paint is to crop a photo. So here you can see I've got a photo of my daughters. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a 3D memory. So let's start with a crop here using our Magic Select, which allows me to remove the background from the photo and just keep my daughters. arrange this, and I'll move my background over. Now, I'd like to add a few more memories from that day, and I have just the perfect item in mind.
I was going to say, I hope it's a
That
sandcastle.
exact same sandcastle that I just scanned moments ago is now a 3D object in Paint.
That's pretty cool.
Let's go ahead and get my daughters in the scene here.
I'm guessing
move
from
them
the
over. Now, I don't
woos
really
and
want
the
them
applause,
sitting in
there's
the
some
back.
Microsoft employees
Fortunately,
in the audience, as well
because
as
we are working
press.
in true 3D, I can easily move them
This
into
leaked
the
out,
right
right?
depth of the
You
scene.
guys have already seen this.
The application.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to add a tree, and the web is always a good place of inspiration for that. So another way that we
You know,
are
web
making
reminds me of
3D
trees.
creation
That's for sure.
easy for everyone.
I was just thinking intellectual property abuse, but that's okay.
This is a community
great
we're
place to
building
steal a
for
tree
people
image.
to share, discover, and be inspired by
Island.
3D. So you can see here we are on the homepage, lots of original creations and some featured artists. And you might also notice that we have some things that were made in Minecraft. Minecraft is an incredible game that really captures the imagination of its audience. Inside the game, people explore, craft, and create in a rich 3D world. With the Creators Update, not only will you be able to export your creations directly from the game, but you'll also be able to 3D print them from right here in the community.
Like 3D printing as a service?
Now,
In
it's
other words, if you don't need to own a
when you're
printer for that
creators,
technology?
Yeah,
we
but
have a
that's
variety of
actually
content,
exists
to
already.
choose
There's a
from. So as I scroll
Minecraft
down,
mod that can do that.
you will also notice some objects that were created in SketchUp. Now, SketchUp has been a long-time believer in 3D for everyone, which is why we are excited to announce our partnership with Trimble to bring SketchUp and their millions of creators and creations from 3D Warehouse to be part of our community. But I came here to look for a tree, so let's get looking.
This is the first Windows 10
So you can see there's a
event.
variety of trees.
Right,
And I'm
don't feel like I'm.
select this one here.
It has anything to do with me. I mean, I just don't
And you're a
understand.
graphics designer, though. It's interesting that you don't.
No, but this is like being at an Adobe event. I don't. I mean, I'm a writer, really. I mean, I play with Photoshop or whatever, but I just don't. I don't mean that nobody needs this. It does seem like a fairly limited audience.
SketchUp, by the way,
strange thing to focus on.
Might be a little confusing because Google owns SketchUp, but as she might have alluded to, it was purchased from Google by Trimble Navigation, of all people.
For the community to be integrated
Google had
into
bought
any
SketchUp
app or
some years ago.
experience. You can see the exact same homepage we were just on moments ago. And I also have access to my own personal content, including that inspiration board that I just added some trees
For
to.
a while, Google was giving
So
away
let's take a look
SketchUp.
at that. And I'm just going to drop that tree in. Perfect.
They sold
move
it
it
to
over.
Trimble in 2012.
Joe Belfiore just tweeted something about watching this
looking
event
better.
from home,
But the top
which
is a
I
little
take to mean
empty,
he
so
is
I'm gonna
not
go ahead
there.
and add a cloud.
Which is kind of
Or he's
interesting.
running late.
To do that, I'm going
That's
to use
interesting.
what is my
He lives about 3,000 miles away,
Yeah.
so.
the doodle tool. The doodle tool allows me to take any
He's back, though, from
2D
his
free
sabbatical.
sketch with a pen.
Yeah, but there's
and
questions about where he's going to end up.
turn it into 3D.
Interesting.
There we go. Now, for the sake of time, let's move over to a scene that I've advanced a little bit. We all know that there are two sides to every story. And in this case, here is a scene that my daughters have been working on from their own memories of that day.
This looks like
at
one of
the
those
beach.
snow globe things.
Now, my girls have been early testers with paint all along the way, and one of their favorite things to do is to create their own personal
This is a
emojis.
really interesting thing to lead off
I'm
with.
gonna
I
go
agree with you,
ahead and
Paul.
I'm
It
gonna
seems
take
like
this emoji,
you're leading with
and I'm going to do a little bit of
not Windows
remixing,
even, but an app.
and make it my own. And I have
So there's
just
two.
the
So there's
person
two
for
possibilities.
inspiration in mind.
One is that they genuinely see a large market here, based on market research that we're not privy to because we're not a part of that. The other thing is that they're using this to demonstrate technological leadership in the platform and to use this as a gee whiz it does this, and oh, by the way, it does Office too, so you can do your regular homework on it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm curious though. I realize this is like any transition. You're making color TV shows at a time when most people are black and white or whatever. These 3D creations, in the beginning especially, will be enjoyed in 2D.
Just like a texture.
For the most part, right? The consumption part of this, when somebody actually sees this thing, is not going to be a 3D experience.
Well, you could have, I presume, shared that sandcastle on Facebook or YouTube.
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, you think it will be an interactive 3D?
Yeah, you can already do that. So,
yeah, okay.
You can already do these things, but they're not. They're sort of messy. They're sort of messy experiences right now. You have to put together a whole bunch of building blocks from a whole bunch of vendors yourself and try to make them work together.
Right.
So,
they literally just shared that to Facebook, by the way.
Did they? Oh yeah. There you go.
So there you go.
My 3D memory that I just created in Paint.
What is this? I got to look into this Facebook thing. Is this taking off?
My friends and family to see.
It's not that compelling. I'll be honest with you.
We've just shown you new ways to create and share in 3D, but that's only part of the story. 3D
Are they trying to take back the home market?
I don't. Expressing, and it accelerates comprehension to people in their. So let's take a look at how it's valuable to people in their everyday experiences.
There you go.
Over the next year, you will see us integrate 3D across our most popular Microsoft applications.
Yikes.
Let's start by taking a look at PowerPoint and see how 3D can enable you to be creative and productive. I'd like to invite Heather, one of our product managers, out on stage to give us a sneak peek.
Yeah.
Thanks, Megan.
I agree with you, Paul. I'm kind of not sold.
Let's jump right into this presentation.
It makes me feel old and grumbly just even thinking about it.
I've already captured my key points.
It makes me feel like word art.
Some 3D magic to really drive these points home. I'm going to start by inserting a fig tree, the star of my presentation. So to do that, I'm going to click on the Insert tab. Now here you can see all of the things that you'd expect, but we've added a new option to be able to insert a 3D model.
Where have you put Satya Nadella? Did you lock him up? What happened here?
There's an event going on in Redmond today. It's a completely separate event for business types.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
These are the exact.
This makes sense, though. You do Paint, then the all-in-one is a home computer, isn't it?
But with 3D,
Correct.
I can change the perspective.
So this is really Windows in the home.
Story exactly the way
so do you guys think
and
the Surface
I would
all-in-one?
imagine that the all-in-one is going to be really optimized for all of this.
Yeah, like the HP Sprout almost. Kind of a quirky,
3D also
creative
enables
device.
me to engage my audience even more by adding animation. I can easily do this in my presentation. I'm going to start by duplicating the slide. And then I'm going to move and rotate the tree to highlight the part I want to focus on.
I appreciate that this fig tree doesn't look like a cartoon, by the way.
And I'm going to get the back angle, and I really like this top-down view. And then I'm going to click Transitions and select Morph. Here you can see PowerPoint does all of the heavy lifting for me and creates a beautiful 3D transition. Now, to save some time, I built another version earlier. So let's have a look at my finished work.
They're doing a lot of jumps from the easy beginning to the complex finished product.
So you can really see the content come alive.
It's the step 2 question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah,
part of the tree to talk about a detail.
Pay no attention to the middle steps.
And I can
there are
mix and
127
match
of them.
2D and 3D content to illustrate my point. And here, this would have taken me forever to find the perfect angle in a photograph. But with 3D, I simply rotated the tree to match exactly what I was looking for.
This looks nice. Is there some anticipation that in the future, the viewers of this presentation will actually see it in 3D? Using a HoloLens type experience.
Yeah, it must be what they're thinking, right? This is paving the way.
Easy to convey your ideas.
Well, just being able to rotate the object, just the way that she did, is something that you can't do when you cut and paste an image.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and
so,
it's a reasonably high quality image.
Buildings, cityscapes, data modeling,
crafts,
Now we've
crafts,
shown you with the creators update how we can bring objects
architectural drawings,
from your physical world into your digital world. Now, let's take a look at how we can take this rich 3D
Here's the
content
answer to your question, Paul.
and break it free from your screens with Microsoft HoloLens. I'd like to bring out one of the designers on our team, Taj, who's going to help us
It's smart there's a
demonstrate
2D
this.
aspect to it as well, right? Because that's the whole world
Megan.
right now.
Hey, Taj.
You need to
Hey,
have
everyone.
that.
All right.
And the other aspect to think of is Windows Holographic,
Microsoft Edge
which
was
they're
the
probably
first
going to be
browser
talking
to
about
bring
shortly,
linking to the
which
web.
is supposedly going to allow them to do a lot of this stuff without the
browser
HoloLens hardware.
Fully embrace 3D for everyone.
But here comes the HoloLens camera.
Microsoft Edge becomes this
Looking
incredible
good.
portal for digital content
and the big
enter into your real
camera
world
that
as a hologram.
creates the illusion that
Now,
HoloLens is.
we've got a camera here that
everywhere.
allows you to see all the same holograms that Taj can see just from his viewpoint.
Microsoft really hasn't
That's
kind of
right, Megan.
responded
Here on
to
HoloLens,
the
we have the same
letterbox,
awesome community that we showcased earlier today.
complaint that
And
people
in it,
have
you
of
can
these
see
demos,
Megan's
that this
creation.
isn't really what it looks like
What's
at all.
really exciting is this is mixed reality.
They
We can
love
take
When
it.
he
the
turned to
spatial
face the
plane
audience,
right
that should have
into space.
disappeared.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and select it. And
Well,
I'm gonna
and
place it
it's not
right
that kind
about
of wide point of view, right? You'd have to look at that
Awesome. Looks good, Megan.
Right.
Nice job.
thing, and the other
Now,
thing would
this
disappear
creation
as you did
started
that.
as a real sandcastle.
The one thing HoloLens does
that we
do well, though,
captured,
is what he
edited,
just
and
showed, where
enhanced,
you
and
take
now
a
it's
virtual
back here
object
on
and put it on
stage as a
top of a
hologram.
physical object. And if
Right.
you were to walk around that and
That's
look at it
pretty
from different
cool.
angles,
Yeah.
it's latched right onto that thing.
Yeah.
It's very
With
realistic.
And they
Windows
start,
10, you
and
can
right, and
move
that's
your
where they
content
started was with
seamlessly
mixed
from your
reality.
real
Right.
world
Yeah.
to your digital world and then back again.
And I think even Apple
Let's
is
take a
saying,
look
Tim
at
Cook's
another
even saying that
example
that's the future, is
with
mixed
the leader
reality,
in
not
home
virtual reality.
renovation and design, House.
A lot of
Today,
talk,
we
by the
wanna
way.
show
on
you
the
Oh
a
yeah, I
Apple
mean,
side.
but that's the real thing is
that
they,
demonstrates
this
how
is year,
House
as far as
users
I can see,
with Microsoft
years
Edge on
away still,
HoloLens
right?
Can preview products in their
Well,
own
I
home
mean, what he's just
before they
showing off
buy.
is technically going to be here in early next year.
So
It's
I'm
just that it's not going to look
design
as
fan, and I
amazing
absolutely
as
love the
they're
fact that we bring
demonstrating.
objects into our space and check them out before we make a big decision. I've got a couple bar stools here. This one looks good. I'm gonna select it. And I'm gonna place it right about here. Great. Let's see what a set looks like. I'm gonna bring in the second one.
You should bring Brad on stage so he can sit in one of those
place
chairs.
it Here.
The ability to take a digital chair and break it free from the screen means that Taj can purchase with more confidence, knowing that the chair will fit in his home. While HoloLens works with the space around you, virtual reality immerses you in the digital world. With the Windows 10 Creators Update, powerful and affordable virtual reality is coming to everyone.
And we're not going to tell you
We're
how.
bringing a whole new set
Just-
of
it's
affordable
coming.
virtual reality accessories to your Windows 10 PC. Now everyone can create, view, and interact with 3D objects and mixed reality, from augmented reality to virtual
So is it
reality.
virtual reality
and
or
everything
augmented
in
reality?
between.
They seem to be bopping back
Taj
and
is now
forth
going to
between
put
those
on
two.
one of these virtual reality accessories. Let's see how the same Windows experience we just saw on HoloLens now carries over to the virtual world. Taj is standing here with me on stage, but just like that, he's transported to a beautiful house on the coast.
So I'm so excited to share with you all my virtual space, but just quickly note there's a version of me there on screen so you can follow along in the experience.
And because this is Windows, wherever you choose to go, you'll always have the apps you know and love with you.
So I've created this massive screen where I can watch my beloved Sounders play. Go Sounders. I love those guys. They just made the playoffs, so I'm pretty amped about that.
Soccer.
And then on this
It's
back wall
America's
here,
sport.
I have a shelf of all my favorite apps. And to the right, I've got Microsoft Edge open up with the community. That's the same community I showcased earlier in the HoloLens demo. And from that, I was able to pull Megan's super awesome 3D memory and place it here on the shelf with me, all in virtual reality.
Windows 10 makes these connected mixed
It's
reality
giving me some
experiences
flashbacks
possible,
there.
allowing
To
Taj
Bob.
to take a 3D memory that I
To
created
Nom.
in Paint,
I'm not going to say it,
real world
but
with
yeah.
HoloLens, and then into his
Little
virtual
Bobby.
There's a,
PTSD from
But
Microsoft
VR
Bob.
also allows Taj to create new memories.
All right, Megan, I've got a great idea. Let me call up Holotour. And I've always wanted to go to Italy and check out the architecture there, so take us to Rome.
Here, Taj is outside the Roman Pantheon in Holotour.
If this stuff works, you guys are never going to see me again. This is all I'm going to do. Sit in a room and eat Twinkies and be in Rome.
Available on the web. Holotour is a special experience that takes that idea even further.
So this is VR at this point.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. You know, earlier they were talking. Yeah, they were kind of mixing VR and AR here. Yeah, this is basically.
No, she very explicitly said at the beginning that this is a VR accessory that he's working with now.
I absolutely love this space.
Oh, and he's actually wearing a different headset. I didn't even notice that.
They mentioned a new set of affordable accessories that they will be offering for any Windows device.
One of the many.
So I wonder if that's going to mean Microsoft or Microsoft's partners.
And one of the many
But Google's doing this now. Oculus does this. Vive does this.
Megan, thanks everyone.
Well, it's about time they started down that VR path. I mean, augmented reality is the future, but the VR is everywhere.
With the Windows
that's how you
10
get
Creators
there.
Update,
Right. Yeah.
we
Start
took a
with
sample
VR.
from the real world, captured it as a digital memory, remixed it with Paint, shared it out on the web, brought it back into the real world as a hologram, and then into virtual reality. Our content is no longer confined to a digital or physical form. It has evolved. By making 3D for everyone, our digital world starts a new, more human journey. Imagine what you'll do.
Thanks, Megan.
Well, the details on those accessories, that's going to be a very important part of this puzzle.
Particularly price.
With the Creators Update,
Exactly.
Yeah.
They said affordable, so we'll see what they mean by that.
I mean, PC-based VR today is very expensive. It requires an expensive computer and then the hardware itself. Like they're going to explain it right here.
Here you go. This is all third-party
the first and
OEM.
only to ship with inside-out 6 degrees of
So
freedom
the top 5
sensors.
PC makers, basically.
Unlike every other virtual reality headset in the market today.
And you'll notice he just said 6 degrees of freedom available in all of these devices, which is a differentiator with the sort of smartphone-based stuff.
Immersive accessories today cost over $500, sometimes, most of the time, requiring a new expensive device. We are announcing today that these Creators Update accessories will start at just $299.
Who's
So with
applauding?
the Creators Update,
I know.
you and the millions of others Windows 10
Well, there's probably a lot of
can turn
bloggers
on
there.
your laptop and immediately start
They're so enthusiastic.
Still in their jammies.
start printing in 3D, start
That's
creating
interesting.
in 3D,
Yeah. So
start sharing in 3D.
they're late again. They're late to the game on this, but
Yeah, they are.
Are they?
So now, let's
Well,
talk
okay, that's fair. In the sense that a lot of
Oculus
other
is
people
there,
have been
Vive
shipping
is there,
stuff for a while.
and Google. I mean, Google's lower price point, Galaxy Gear VR is a lower price point, and of course, you have to have a phone for both of those. But who doesn't have a phone?
Well,
But you have to have
those
the
are.
right phone.
I think they're right. There are degrees of VR, right? I mean, Google Cardboard is $20
It works with any
or whatever,
phone,
but
and that works with any Android device. Actually, it works
but
with
that
any
won't be as
iPhone too. It
capable
works with
as
any
what they're
phone.
showing off.
Yeah.
That wasn't a Foo Fighters concert or a political convention or the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. That was an esports tournament. Last year, more people watched the League of Legends Championship, a Windows PC game, than the World Series. Young gamers are
That's
now
why we
spending
need to make
twice as
America
much
great again.
time
It is
watching
not
people
okay.
broadcast their gameplay than they do playing games themselves.
This is why Amazon
This year
bought
alone,
Twitch.
Minecraft videos have been watched over 50 billion
I understand playing
times.
video games.
I think half of
Watching
them
other
by my
people play
son.
video games.
Game viewing is
It's
just
big,
now
Paul.
a
You're
real
old. It's
social
big.
phenomenon.
But I play video games every day.
I know,
mean,
but you're
and
old.
innovation
It's
is
big.
inspiring us
Yeah,
to
no,
build
I
I mean, that's their
recognize
point.
that it's big. I'm
Yeah.
confused by it.
almost from
Yeah,
our
I
very
am too.
beginning.
Unfortunately, Amazon and
30 years
Google
ago,
own this.
or Gears
This
of War
Yeah.
4,
even
Forza
Xbox.
Motorsport, think Solitaire,
Sharing to Twitch is more important
or
than
our
sharing
new
to the
Xbox One S,
Xbox.
Yep.
a Windows 10 device that we've designed for the best console gaming experience. Since its launch 15 years ago, Xbox continues to deliver serious fun, no matter where you play, in your living room, or now your Windows 10 PC.
I want people to watch me play solitaire.
Yeah,
I want people to watch me.
Solitaire.
Yeah.
I watch people play solitaire all the time when I'm flying.
Watching the most elite gamers battle it out in esports, or whether you're an aspiring creator aiming to reach millions of viewers with your own gameplay broadcasts, Windows 10 will be your platform for gaming glory.
Yeah.
Please welcome Ken from the
Prestige
Xbox
11,
team
man.
to show you what's new with gaming in the Creators
I've been
Update.
preparing for this for 25 years.
Yep. I have a certain set of skills.
Thanks, Terry. How y'all doing? All right. Let's talk gaming. I'm Jen McCoy,
here's a
known
younger
on Xbox
person.
Live as Reardon Steele. And
kudos
gaming has
to them for
been a
bringing out
big
young
part of my
people to
life
this event.
ever since I was in school, and I'd stay up late every night playing games with my friends. So as you can imagine, working on Xbox is a total dream come true. I have 3 announcements today, sharing with you what's coming for gamers with the Windows 10 Creators Update. Let me start with game broadcasting. As Terry explained, the popularity and time spent watching gaming is through the roof. And we know there are many reasons why people watch gameplay today. Sometimes it's to check out a new game before they buy it. Other times, it's to learn how to play a game better, to get through a certain level or beat a particular boss. And in a lot of cases, they're watching for pure entertainment value. It can be just as much fun watching the person streaming as it is playing the game yourself.
I want to be present for the conversation that you guys have with your wives when you explain, tonight we're going to watch a video game.
College buddy Jason, he lives back in Texas.
I want to see how that one goes down.
But we could get Peter Bright in here, who he is part of this target
He's a fan.
demographic.
Yeah,
that's true.
Big fan of spectator sports.
He went to Vegas, right, to watch the illegal, or what? No, it was the other one that he played.
Dota.
Yeah, Dota
Person
Live.
broadcasting their gameplay. In fact, Jason has set it up so that people watching can suggest what he do next. Now look at the buttons on the bottom of the screen. You're going to see one there that says
I'll have to say, though, I think Peter's the exception.
I'm going to click
Most
that button,
people
and you'll hear me
who do this are
suggest
not
to Jason
married.
that he take it off road.
Yes.
Time to off-road
Yes. So explaining it to your spouse is not
There
probably
you go.
the
He totally listened. Takes backseat driving to an
I may be wrong, but I just feel like people watching other people game are usually watching
people
alone.
stream their gameplay is easy, but it can be a different story if you want to be the broadcaster. For a lot of people, the idea of broadcasting their own gameplay can be really intimidating.
Oh, hell, Paul, let's face it. People are watching us do this.
Learn how to configure a stream.
So,
there's something for
right,
everybody.
there's something for everybody.
It's not like the 1980s when we had 3 channels.
With the Creators Update, we're making it so each of us can become a game broadcaster because we're building Beam broadcast technology right into Windows.
Whoa, that's interesting.
Pretty cool, right?
So now it is a fairly complicated thing to do. You got to get software.
And I'm going to show you how it works. Forza. All right, here we are in Forza. Before we start driving, I'm going to show you how easy it is to start a broadcast.
This is doubling down on one of the real strengths of Windows, which is it's the only gaming operating system, really, if you're talking desktop gaming.
Right. It's also a smart thing for their partners because as the PC market has kind of faltered over the past several years, there are pockets that grow.
Right, drives hardware. Drives hardware.
And gaming,
sales.
gaming PCs are absolutely one of those sub-markets.
It's that simple to start a broadcast right from Windows.
It's interesting, though. I mean, they also sell a console.
Can
So.
watch me broadcasting my gameplay.
Yeah.
And I want to ask y'all to keep an eye on that chat window.
But there's a lot of connection between those two devices.
There is now,
just in the way that Google and Apple
what do you think about Forza
are
Horizon 3?
leveraging their strengths in mobile
Beam is an
devices
amazing service to broadcast
to connect to PCs. They're saying, Microsoft is saying, well, we have no strength in mobile devices, but we do have a pretty solid console position. So let's, when they talk about across screens, that's the first stop.
Yeah, it's not mobile, it's the console. Yeah, that's a good point. And this is a game that literally crosses that divide. It's available in both.
And it's something Sony can't do.
Now, on Xbox Live, we have this thing called clubs. They're a way for people to come together around similar interests. My club is called the Racing Texans. It's made up of people who are from Texas and who enjoy racing games.
I like her license plate, by
Everyone
the
in the
way.
Racing Texans, they were all able to see when I started broadcasting my gameplay. And they can tune in from anywhere, whether they're on their Xbox One console, on their PC, or even out and about on a smartphone. As a broadcaster, that means I can build out a substantial audience for my stream because it's super accessible.
You should do a video game podcast, Leo, and have it be literally a virtual in a game type of thing.
We did do that, but the problem is you can't compete against Twitch.
So Stormy,
Twitch owns this. Now, I guess this actually does make a credible competitor to Twitch because it's easier.
Competition and gaming go
Yeah,
hand in hand.
and Twitch by nature would probably appeal mostly to hardcore gamers, whereas if this takes off, it will be because it has mainstream appeal.
And, you know, if we had said 10 or 12 years ago that YouTube would become a platform where all of a sudden a bunch of, 16-year-olds would have audiences of 1 million and be pulling down six-figure incomes every year from it, they'd probably look at you like you should be locked up. But this has, and I think this might be one of the reasons they're looking at this, this has sort of the same potential.
Well, more than that, it makes Microsoft a social play. I mean, this is a social network. The gaming is the spine of it, but it's not. But it's really a social network.
I'm going to open the Xbox app.
Right, and it's not confined to Microsoft games. This would work with anything that runs on these platforms.
So we want to give gamers the
That's very
ability to
interesting,
create their own tournaments and challenges.
Because my initial thought was, would casual gamers do this? But if you think of it as a social network that a game happens to be going on, yeah, absolutely.
You can compete against your friends.
Yeah, my wife will sit on the couch at night with her smartphone and play word-of-ment type games. Words with Friends or whatever. With her
if you watch what's
mother,
happening at Twitch,
friends.
the chat room is huge. That's the biggest part of it.
That's a social thing.
It's a social thing.
KI is a popular fighting game where you square off against an individual opponent. And with the tournament structure, my friends and I can determine which of us is truly the gaming master. All right, I'm going to call my tournament the KI Throwdown.
So that's what's really interesting about this. This is Microsoft essentially launching a social network.
To all my friends.
Yeah, and at a very specific audience.
I'm going to go here with classic.
Is it a launch or is it an extension of the Xbox Live community that already exists and seems to be pretty solid?
Yeah.
Right.
Can you do all of this on Xbox Live, though? I mean, can you play a game and have somebody watch you and stream it and chat with you?
Well, that's why it's an extension.
Right. Yeah.
Of it.
It's all integrated.
Yeah, I mean, they've been building on those capabilities for a long time. This is taking it in kind of a dramatic new direction.
The chat requires a keyboard. I mean, so that's why it doesn't lend itself well to
the best part is
Xbox.
It doesn't matter
you could
which
play an
device my
Xbox.
friends choose
You
to play
could
on.
watch a
They have
chat.
chat keyboards, for people that want that.
PC, running Windows 10.
Most of it's
Xbox
headset
is bringing
stuff.
players together.
Yeah, it's mostly going to be trash talking.
Yeah, which is why I mute everybody.
So that was a look at a couple of new things that are coming with the Creators Update for gamers. But you don't have to wait until this spring to get in on the action. There are plenty of amazing games playable right now on one of the most popular Windows 10 gaming devices.
Windows 10,
the new
HoloLEDs,
Xbox One S.
Xbox One.
Starting at only $299,
The only thing
Xbox
left is
One S
Surface.
has been the top
When
console in
Amazon
the US
bought Twitch,
and several other markets
Twitch
for the
accounted
past
for
3 months.
43% of all live video streaming traffic.
Yikes.
That's actually less than I would have thought.
Well, the next biggest is believe it or not, WWE at 17%, Twitch at 43%.
Well, to be fair, though, 26% of Twitch's numbers are just Peter Bright watching Dota.
The detail on the car is incredible. You can actually see
8 million uniques in its first month, 55 million users, 45 million uniques, 8 billion page views in July of last year.
I mean, that's bigger than the number of PlayStation 4 users.
Right.
It's over twice the size of the number of Xbox One users.
Yeah, and this is clearly a run at Twitch.
You get to play it on both Xbox One and Windows 10 PC for no additional cost. Your game saves, your progress, your achievements,
and no additional
they're all
cost.
saved on Xbox Live and shared across both platforms. Now, for those of you who balance your game playing with a little movie watching, you can also watch 4K video via streaming
This
service
is an
like
Xbox
Netflix
One S pitch.
with the built-in
I'm sorry, I
4K
missed that
Blu-ray
switch.
That brings me to my final announcement. This one is especially for you audio enthusiasts. I'm excited to announce that Bitstream Audio Pass-Through, including Dolby Atmos support, is coming with the Creators Update for Blu-rays on Xbox One.
Okay,
Wow.
those two guys in the
Blu-ray
front.
fans in the audience.
they wrote it.
Windows 10 to be the best platform for 4K gaming. And with the Creators Update, we're building it to be the
That's
best
amazing.
platform to enable each of us to become a game broadcaster. Thanks, y'all.
All right, so we can become game broadcasters. We can become 3D object creators.
To the passion of your game
I don't even understand
Mary
what
Jo
I'm looking
Foley
at.
saying, "Why did I go to this event? I should have gone to the
Well, it
the
was
one."
probably easy for her, but
with the Windows 10
crazy.
Creators Update. Now, when we take a step back and see Megan creating with her daughters, or Jen racing with her Racing Texans Club, and look across all of our lives, the common thread between our most productive and our most fun moments are our people, the ones we share these moments with. Magic happens when we collaborate with our coworkers. Magic happens when we play with our friends. Yet today, our people are confined within individual applications, specific social networking apps, your email app, texting apps. With the Creators Update, we are placing people at the center of your Windows experience, right where they belong.
What is that?
We want to inspire true creativity and true connection. Please welcome Allison to show you some of her team's work in the Creators Update.
I think it's a meaningless sentence, placing people at the center of Windows. I don't.
They've been talking about that since 2010 in the first version of Windows 10, Windows Phone.
Here at Microsoft, thinking about how to support
In exactly those
stronger
vague
human
terms.
connections
The
through
People Hub.
technology.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it? Is that it?
We're putting people at the center. In other words, the phone revolves around you, not around individual.
No, I understand.
Over the last decade,
just
we
don't
have seen an
understand
incredible
what that would look like, but
explosion
that would
of
be-
ways
If
to
you're
connect with
suggesting it's a
people
meaningless
across
platitude,
our
Leo,
devices.
I think it might be.
Started with the
I'm bored
delightful
with that.
simplicity of email, has now grown into a patchwork of applications and services, from Facebook to SharePoint, from Messenger to text, from
Which is, of
Skype
course,
to LinkedIn.
ignoring the fact that
Each
people
network
use computers because they
bringing
don't like people.
increasingly innovative ways to connect with a growing network
Yep.
of people. And while the benefits of our growing social networks is very clear, it also comes at a cost: complexity. When we talk to our customers, we see a universal truth again and again, that most of our communications happen with a few key people.
Oh, this leaks.
These are the
This is a way to access context from the taskbar, if I'm not
Moments we
mistaken. I
share
can't
with these
remember the name of
people
it.
that define
A
us.
little picture of this came out
For
at one
me,
point.
that's my husband Peter and our twin girls, Jillian and Taylor. Vicky, a close co-creator at Microsoft, and my friend and neighbor, Parul. Yet today, these people are peers amongst the infinite other people. They are buried in our apps. They get lost in the complexity. So we asked ourselves, what would it mean to prioritize our most important people in Windows? With the Windows 10 Creators Update, we will give you a faster way to connect and share with the people who matter most on any Windows PC. Let's take a look at how the simple presence of your
Microsoft
people
built something
will
like
give you
this
a
into
faster
their
way to share
Android home screen replacement, I think the Arrow
simple
launcher,
way to
the
cut through
people
the
pane,
noise.
essentially.
and a new
Yes,
way
exactly.
to feel closer to the people who matter most. I want to start with a common task on Windows: sharing.
I was just thinking I didn't
Our
have
goal
enough
is to
stuff
make
in my
sharing
taskbar. This will be
Windows
nice.
fast and easy
But
as
the idea
possible.
is that if you start with a person, you don't need to go to the app and then find the person. You start with the person, and then you figure out how you communicate
what
with
you can
them.
do. Yeah.
Which is actually true. With most of the people that I interact with, are they on Skype? Are they on GChat? Do they prefer email? You know, it's
drag any
This
content
is Windows
directly to
Phone.
Vicky.
This is literally the idea, original idea behind Windows Phone. You know, you have a person in the People Hub,
Doesn't
and
matter if
here
you
are
want
the
to share
things
a
you can do with
document
that
or a
person.
PowerPoint, picture, or video. The friction is reduced by taking out the steps of making that connection. We will also carry that principle of connecting you quickly to your important people across Windows. The Windows sharing experience in any application will now understand my people. So here in the Photos app, we see my daughter skiing, and I want to share this video with my husband. I can quickly ink a message, sharing my excitement that it's almost ski season. It's a big deal in our house. And when I'm ready to share, I go to the share charm, And of course, my people are there, including my husband, Peter. If I want, I can add a message, send, and I'm done.
This kind of ignores the fact that the place
With the
people do
Creators
this is
Update,
on
we will give you
mobile.
the fastest way to share with the most important people in your life anywhere in Windows.
And they're already doing it on mobile.
But this does also imply the mobile reboot next year. Okay, we find, you know,
that comes from being so accessible to so many people.
I guess. I mean, it feels to me like, well, we don't have a mobile platform, but we're going to give you that on the desktop.
I do this a lot on phone. You know, you can get a text message from someone and you want to call them in the text message app, no matter what platform. You can find kind of an info button and then go from there and call them. You know?
Right.
And I would fully
it makes
expect
sense.
this.
With the Creators Update, we're going to bring
I would fully expect this capability to be in a matching app on iOS and Android.
All right. Okay. Interesting.
And also, you know, if Windows Mobile keeps improving, you could picture a pull-down shade to have this stuff right there from any screen.
Xbox Live and Skype for Business, and of course, making it extensible by our partners. So when I get that urgent text from my husband, Peter, who's currently at the store on his phone and trying to get in touch with me, I'll see it right on my desktop. Then it's one tap to view the message. And in one simple place, I can change
real
from Skype to Mail
Longhorn
app,
style UI, isn't it?
which provides me with a view
really
of my
is.
inbox dedicated just to Peter.
It's also kind of a phone-looking UI in a way, too, right? The aspect ratio.
Read the content of that mail, and then quickly respond in the app of my choice. Here, I respond back to his phone using Skype, letting him know I support our daughter's Taylor's choice.
I feel like this is where Microsoft went wrong with Windows 8, trying to turn a desktop operating system into a tablet, and it's just doubling down.
Yeah,
I don't.
With your most important people.
Plus, there's a little break exclusive there. Skype exists in the future, sadly.
Just who I talk to most frequently. They are
Sorry.
the closest people in my life.
The Terminator robot of the Microsoft world.
Technology obscures that human connection, the emotion that these relationships represent to us. For these important people, how we communicate, it matters. The Windows 10 Creators Update will introduce shoulder taps, little nudges that can help you express what you're feeling.
Facebook abandoned Poke years ago.
Whether that's my daughter
Use
Julian,
3D sound to scare your coworkers.
smile,
Oh boy.
my daughter Taylor with a playful
This is turning into an ad for switching to the Mac.
Oh, this is awful. I'm sorry. This is yo.
Or even my coworker Vicky saying it is time for me to get off the stage with a mic drop.
Oh, no.
With the Windows 10 Creators Update, we will give you a faster way to
I
connect
want to
with
warn
your
everyone I know
Apple
now that if you ever send me one of
any
those,
Windows PC.
Apple is spending
your life,
tens or perhaps hundreds of millions of
Now
dollars on the balloon icons that you
on
can
mobile.
put on a chat
On
app, but it's on a chat app. It's every bit as lame as what you were just complaining about there.
Yeah, but if I'm sitting at my desktop, I'm there because I'm working. I don't want mic drops and balloons. It's different
the
on
other thing
mobile,
is,
and you don't have to do it on mobile, by the way. It's in your SMS app. It's not,
Yeah, it's not just Apple, right? I mean, Facebook, Google,
Everybody's
everyone
doing
is,
this. Yeah, all the
is taking
messaging apps do
Messenger
this
as the
now.
next platform.
Yeah.
I agree that it's lame.
It's like to me, it's like Microsoft doing what they did with Windows 8.1. It's misunderstanding what people use desktop computing for.
Yep. They do, yeah. Right. They veered in such a good direction with Windows 10 originally, and yeah, this kind of stuff. I don't know.
I presume you can block it and turn it off, but
right.
Thank you. So with all due humility, I want to share our goal for Windows 10.
Humility. Everyone drink.
It's to have the effect of the Gutenberg press.
humble and humility. Oh, is that an all-in-one right there? What is that?
Free 3D.
No, it's just a monitor. Huh?
Free mixed reality.
Yeah, maybe it is.
free esports
got a bulge.
and game broadcasting, and so much more for everyone. This week, we are releasing early builds of the Creators Update to all of our Windows Insiders. If you're not a Windows Insider yet, please join us and help us shape this future as part of the world's largest collaborative software project. Now,
it's
for
funny they
technology
named this so early.
to serve all of us, we need to ensure that there are devices for each of us. There has to be a breadth of devices to meet the needs
There's
of
got to be a
individual
Surface in there
creators
somewhere.
like Saif and Carrie.
I was just checking on Twitter, and I should note Ben Baharin, who's really good analyst, says he would love to see. He says this is the most excited he's been about the direction that Microsoft is going in years. So,
all around the world.
So there's a difference of opinion out there.
Tablets,
Oh no,
PCs,
yeah,
two-in-one
of course it is. Of
consoles,
course.
I detect a
mixed
little
reality
sarcasm
devices,
there.
IoT devices.
Not in Ben and you.
Because it is our mission to ensure that everyone, everywhere on the planet can achieve their potential at work.
The last time I was this confused at a Microsoft event, they announced .NET, and I had no idea what they were talking about.
Pursuing our mission.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry, not .NET. Windows Azure.
A new category of device, like we did with Surface.
Reveal.
Like we did with Xbox, like we did with HoloLens. And we seize these moments to create something so much more than a product. We seek that special alchemy when a device and software pair perfectly to create something
Ladies and gentlemen, Surface
new, to
Phone.
create a profound
Seizing the moment.
experience. Please welcome Panos, our leader of Microsoft
Panos
devices.
Who, of course, shown last year with the
When I grow up, my
reveal of the
sister's
Surface
an
book,
engineer, and it's really cool.
which you're
And
seeing
I
right
wanna
there in the
be just
video.
like her.
This show brought to you by our friends at Blue Apron, who are trying to change the way you cook. Every Blue Apron box delivers delicious seasonal recipes with fresh, high-quality ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals in 40 minutes or less for much less than you spend at a grocery store, less than $10 per person. Blue Apron. You get 3 meals free right now if you go to blueapron.com/twit, blueapron.com/twit. This week, Thai green curry chicken and squash with yu choy, jasmine rice, and cashews. Seared salmon and fall vegetable hash with apple brown butter dressing. We thank Blue Apron for their support of our Twit Live specials. All right, let's get back because we don't want to miss Panos Panay.
My sister makes computers, but she says
Sister
she
makes
brings imagination to life.
Yes.
Don't worry, Leo. This is a 20-minute long commercial.
I think I got time. My commercial or their commercial? Which would you like? Oh, they use that time to reset the stage.
Yep. I remember these two devices? We're still selling them.
That's fun. You guys pump me up. It's cool. I love that video. There's a bunch of reasons why. I got to share it with you really quick. And there's this idea where the product helps bringing all those people's ideas to life. Like, that's a very, very cool thing to see, and that momentum's real in that. And when you see people doing amazing things like that, it kind of gets you thinking, now, that's what we do it for.
Yeah.
Whether it's HoloLens or
I want
Surface,
momentum. Just think about that
or
Surface
Xbox
Pro
or
that
Surface
Bill
Hub,
Belichick
all these
was throwing.
devices are
Man, that's
bringing this experience together in such a delightful way, and people are loving these things. Favorite part about that video? Absolute favorite part. At the very end of that video, watch it later, that is the mechanical engineering team and the actual Surface design team working together, creating Surface on a surface.
Ooh.
We often talk about
Inception.
how products
The singularity
that we
has begun.
are nothing more than a reflection of the people that make them, the people that use them, and the people that love them. That's what these products are. And they are meant to be seamless in your life. I met a gentleman. I want to tell you his story. He inspired me, and I can't see any of you, but he's here. Lawrence Douglas, are you here? There he is.
He's running out
I'm
the
going to
door.
talk about you. I hope this doesn't get hard, but give me just a sec.
Sorry, Lawrence.
I met him not too long ago. He's a super fan of Surface, which is just exciting. We learn so much from you, and you talk to us, and we hear about it. And for those of you watching at home, that's a big deal. We take that feedback, we learn. Lawrence came in, but he came in to tell me what he loves about it. Now, he's a father of 4. He uses a Surface Pro 4. And, he works at USC, the University of Southern California. You put all this together, he comes in, he says, Panos, I'm so busy, it's unbelievable, I'm moving. But I got this Surface Pro 4 and I started taking it to work. I stopped using my laptop. Like a lot of you here. And I start to move from station to station. I do my work. I'm a little bit more versatile. Key. That versatility. Then he goes on to tell his stories. I get home.
This is reminding me of Michael Scott in The Office.
Yes, there is an awkward
Here's a moment
cadence.
that turned for me when I heard his story, because we hear that story a lot.
I mean, the area he just pointed to in the front row over on the left for us is a sea of
More
MacBooks.
stories about how he's a
That's got to
basketball
be
player.
disappointing.
Well, that's cool. And he said, throw me a basketball. Right when I get it, man, I know what to do. Now that's innate.
Somebody told him the story.
Something that he's known growing up. And then he says,
Guys, when I'm playing basketball, it's a metaphor for life.
I know what to do.
and something just came out.
See, I don't. I go, what do I do?
I just got to cringe as the ball approaches.
Don't throw it. And that was such a powerful thing for him. Translating to now a digital pen that he puts on a screen where all of that comes back. All of it. And now he's telling me how he's creating again. Yeah, you can't imagine how I feel when I hear it. That entire summary is kind of representative of what we talked about 2 years ago. So let me just take us back for just a second. This conflict we talked about when we were launching Surface Pro 3, not sure you remember it, but it was when somebody would walk into a store and they didn't know. They needed a laptop. You were told you needed a laptop, but you were told to buy a tablet because that's what you should want.
Who's telling you these things?
And you'd walk into the store and you'd ask the RSP or the salesperson or even your
let me condense
IT
this story down
department,
to 10 seconds. A guy was using a PC and now he's using another PC. I don't even understand what this is about.
This category just spiked. The 2-in-1 category is created. Folks are running after it.
Yeah.
And this versatility is just exploding. It's awesome to see. Now we have millions and millions of people every day using a Surface telling us their story. It's a great story, like Lawrence. And now you have the Creators Update coming. Just bringing this pen more to life, bringing touch more to life, bringing that versatility, the ability to create more to life. Last year, we introduced the Surface Book. You remember that? We had some fun doing that. We had a good time. Now, Surface Book today, we're pretty proud of this, but you know, and I can throw a bunch of data at you, but let me just simplify. Surface Book today has the highest user satisfaction among any current Windows 10 machine out there or any MacBook. All of them. It's way past. Way past.
Can I see that source, that quote?
Yeah, that's rather unbelievable.
Why is that?
I have one. That's not true. They never asked me.
It's that same versatility you needed.
Only took 8 months
in Pro 4
to solve the
coming to life
power
in that
problems
device.
with it.
But more importantly, that
I'm
familiarity
not convinced they're solved. I just hot bagged it the other day with this
in the
thing.
laptop form
No
factor,
kidding.
and that stability you get from it is real. But the fact that you can take the screen off and hand it to somebody, the fact that you can just do that.
They know exactly what to do with it.
Yep.
Take it off,
Use it like a ninja star.
hold it and write like as
For
if
your
it was a legal
presentation
pad,
at
and
someone.
you're the best lawyer
It's yours,
on the
Paul.
planet. And you might be.
Do something with
Throw
it.
it like a frisbee, Leo. I'll catch it. I know what to do.
I am
play
not handing you
basketball.
my laptop screen.
That's the versatility. This is my little guy. This is Kostas. That's a picture his sister took. It's, for me, the essence of
I like the
product.
calculator in the picture. What's that all
I
about?
was going to make fun of that, but I know from my own kids that they're required to use those in school.
He drives so much in me to think
I was
harder,
just about
work
to
harder, but here
kind of
he is
ridicule that too.
PC
You know there's
dude.
an app in
Single
Windows
night
for
he takes
that,
his
right?
posture every night. We're still lucky. He doesn't hide in his room. He does it right there in the living room. He lays on the floor. He does his work. I don't know how. His brain is firing. He's working in OneNote, and he's sharing with his teachers real time. You see that software experience coming to life, but more important than that, you see his brain firing full speed, learning.
Now, I
I'm
wonder
not
if there's
surprised
a,
to discover that Seattle area schools use OneNote.
Yeah.
You know, unlike probably the rest of the world.
It's very, very.
I'm in touch with several educators who use OneNote regularly in whole school districts.
I didn't mean that from a quality standpoint. I use it as well. I like OneNote, but schools are, you know, they tend to use, well, because it's free, but, you know, my kids are all, it's all Google stuff.
And every school district has to make a choice. It's basically Yankees or Mets.
It's been pretty
You know?
awesome to see the uptick in how excited people are. But there's another set of feedback that's been coming in. It comes from gamers.
So
They
this
want more
sounds like
frame
they're
rate.
updating this thing.
Here's the transition.
They just want it. I don't really get it, but
I will say Surface Book today is not suitable as a gaming machine.
No.
Even, the
Engineers,
DGPU version.
they want to spin more parts in CAD, and they don't want any lag. Zero. They want to render beautiful parts real time.
So they are going to update the Surface Book, it sounds like. Yeah.
I don't get that either, but they
All
do.
they need to do is improve the
And we hear
GPU.
it.
Right.
Do you know what everybody asked for?
Well, and then
Don't answer.
overall
It
the
would be
rest of
awful
it.
if you were wrong. I'd feel terrible. Everyone asked for battery life. Everybody.
I'm waiting for this guy to say A, B, C,
It actually doesn't matter
always
what
be
device you're
closing.
using. Everybody asked
Yeah.
for more.
If it's such a sales pitch.
So
here.
here's
I
what we
don't-
did.
It's really
We
drawn
took the
out.
Surface Book,
Yeah.
and we took the high-end product portion. So the top
Coffee's
end
not for you.
SKU, if you will. We took the Core i7, and then we gave it more.
We gave it more?
And we fit it in the exact same
i7.
beautiful design you
More,
wanted.
more i7?
Take a look.
It's an i14.
Here you go.
Now remember the trick Panos played last time they showed the Surface Book video.
Yep. Yeah, because I had heard they were doing a detachable laptop, and when the screen didn't detach, I was like, "Oh, that's weird." Guess my source was wrong. And then they did a second version where it did detach.
Most powerful Surface Book ever, but they haven't
So they're not
changed
revving
anything
it,
else.
but they're basically creating a new model.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
A new GPU, maybe?
Yeah,
And more battery
The
life.
GPU in the current version is just not up to snuff. It's 1 gigabyte of RAM. It just doesn't do it.
No, I could do that with mine. You learn something every day. Can you
The
put
ultimate laptop.
The ultimater.
To the Surface Book lineup. This is the most powerful Surface Book yet, by far. It has over 2 times more graphics than the highest end Surface
2
Book
times
SKU on
more
market
graphics.
today. So we're doubling the performance.
That's not a meaningful
It
phrase.
essentially has
Or it
3
is different.
times more than that of
Unless I
the
missed
highest
something.
end MacBook Pro 13. So just to put
Doesn't
it in
look different there,
context.
though.
It pushes a full 1.9 teraflops. But we didn't just update the processor on this product. We made 2 fundamental moves, improvements, all essential to the details. The first thing I really need to point out is this isn't just picking up a processor and dropping it in. I mean, that's not what we're talking about. We had to make full thermal redesigns of the product, but one of the critical dimensions of the product happens to be the envelope, the design. We talk about how people love the versatility, and that's why the customer satisfaction is so high, but all that versatility, don't forget, always comes in something you want to be proud to hold. Something that you believe is beautiful, something you want to show other people. That's just a truth in product. And so we doubled the performance. We redesigned the entire thermal system from the inside. We add essentially a
keyboard's
second
different.
fan, but we're able to move air faster
Yeah, it's
than
in
ever
a
before with a
recessed
set of
well.
hyperbolic cooling fins
That's
in the
not
back.
on the current version. Unless
So
that's a
therefore, we
see-through
can pump
thing.
up that performance for you and give you everything you need. Here's the other thing we did, fairly simple.
Like the new iPhone.
We put more batteries in the product.
There.
We
Yeah,
gave
see,
you
the background picture
16
doesn't
hours
look
of
like it
battery
changed.
life. 16.
That's good. If it's real, that's great.
Yep.
Now,
We can
Surface
solve
Book
the whole
is pound
problem
for
when it's
pound,
closed.
without any doubt, the most performant laptop on market. Without any doubt. There's no other product, nothing, that has that level
not
of
till
battery,
tomorrow.
that level of competition,
Yeah, exactly.
that many pixels.
Enjoy your
that
time in
like,
sun.
That like form factor.
Shouldn't say
nothing.
that. That's mean. I don't mean that.
It really
Yeah,
is
look
the
at
ultimate
the screen on the left, the keyboard. It's inside
It
of
is.
a-
It's
We
recessed.
really think
yeah.
you will. You can pre-order it today, no doubt. Get out there and pre-order it. You're going to get this product in November.
Yes.
And it's for the people really pushing
$23.99.
performance. This is it. This is the top end product that we want. If you want the top end, go after it.
So not a
But
Surface
here's the
Book
deal.
2, but a
Not
new
everybody
model of
needs
the
all
current
that
Surface Book.
performance. They just want that performance and
I
versatility.
wonder if it's still Skylake. I bet
There's
it
a
is.
Surface out there for every single person. I'm sure of it.
There are It could easily
Don't
be
forget
Kaby
that.
Lake.
And with the Creators Update coming,
a lot of people
and when you
done
see these
Kaby Lake
products,
last
Well, I wrote a column this morning about that, and the one thing they've got the issues with Skylake, more or less under control now. It doesn't make sense for them to throw Kaby Lake in there and do another few months of driver updates and troubleshooting.
Yeah,
I could be
right,
wrong.
exactly.
I mean, maybe
No, but that was
maybe they're doing
painful.
that.
I agree. That was a long, painful process.
And this is maybe a more pragmatic way of bridging the generations, because we know new devices are coming out in the spring, and so you can continue with the current design and just kind of pump it up a little bit.
Turns out I am too. So today was always going to be about more than book. It was going to be more than pro. It was going to be about something new, and we're going to share that now. We tototally believe that Surface
Did he say anything about pro?
The way you create, like my little guy, the way
just
you
that the
learn.
price was $8.99. I don't know
Just
if that
changes how you
is any
operate, and it
different
moves
from what it was.
seamlessly through your day. It's about you at the center. It's a reflection of you and what you want to get done. About being creative. It's about being productive. And that's what we drive for. I think that's critical.
Yeah, so
The product I'm going to show you today
Brad says
takes
it is
all of that
Skylake,
just one step further.
not Kaby Lake. Yeah, Mary Jo says
It's
the
going to
same.
seem pretty familiar. It's going to seem familiar. But it's going to feel different. I believe in this thing where your ideas can be one of your most valuable assets, each one of you. I believe that.
Surface Studio.
I also believe that this product will help you bring your ideas to life. I'd like to
Oh,
introduce
and it's
you to
exactly like the
Surface
renders
Studio.
we saw from the patent.
Here we go, Surface Studio.
Yep. Yeah, so this live stream is behind. Like, this stuff's already being pumped out online. So this leaked. The design of this, the exact design of this already leaked.
And the name.
And the name, yeah.
The USB Type-C.
I didn't see it. I guess that's less important on a desktop computer. I'm going to cut them some slack, but yeah, this seems kind of strange. It wouldn't at least be one. Surface dial. It's an roll-on antiperspirant device of some kind.
I believe they call it the knob.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it has an Apple keyboard. Jeez.
Although it's really just a silver version of their forget what they call that existing keyboard and mouse.
It's so funny that the knob.
It's a knob.
Griffin made that for Mac like 20
Your
years
knobbing
ago.
needs.
I love this product.
It's a 3D object, so it kind of fits in with the
Isn't it
theme of the
gorgeous?
day.
Take a look.
Well, I wonder if it's like an Amazon Dot.
I never like saying a product.
You push it, you get another one.
You press one and a new Surface arrives.
No, not a dash. A dot. The
Dot.
little- the
Oh,
little
you
mini
talk to
echo.
it.
Take a look at that.
Oh.
Every time we show somebody, I think we hear, "Hey, man, that thing's beautiful." And take a look. So when you look at this product, there's a few ways to kind of
They should have gone with the
wrap your
lamp
mind
design
around it
that
and
Apple
walk us
doesn't use
through
anymore.
It's kind of as if they
So,
exist in a vacuum.
First thing to note
Yeah.
is we really did build it for creators. We built it for professionals. It's meant all these ideas, it's meant to transform the way you're going to work. It has to. It's what it's meant for. It's going to help you produce. But I think in its essence,
It's going to help me
everything we
produce.
designed it around is we wanted to transform the way you create and think about creating. It's kind of built, when you look at it, you can look at both of these, but you look and it's built to pull you in.
Oh, Lord.
And I'll explain that, but it is all fundamentally made to immerse you into the content or to the creation that you want to work with.
I mean, it's
And I think
beautiful, and it has a unique industrial design compared to other Surface devices, which makes me wonder about the future tablets they're going to do.
You can see how thin it is here. This is a forged aluminum enclosure.
Although, I don't know, from the back, that looks like a Surface Book, doesn't it?
When you have a chance in the showcase later, get as close to this product as you can. I want you to look at every subtlety here. There is a collection of so many details that you will not see, and they all come together so beautifully on the product. But start with the enclosure when you have a chance. Take a look at it. It's a fully embodied aluminum enclosure. It's housing
so it's aluminum,
the
right?
thinnest
It's not
LCD that has
magnesium.
ever been created at 1.3 millimeter that sits in this product at this size. You have to think here, we reinvented the backlight, the prism sheets, the color filters, the polarizers, the glass itself, all coming together. There's a ton of work that goes into this screen that I think you can kind of feel.
And it's not a mobile device, so it doesn't need to be
magnesium. But if you take that 1.3
magnesium.
millimeters and you take that aluminum chassis, this is the
Right.
thinnest 12.5
Right, weight's not an issue.
millimeters. This is the thinnest desktop monitor ever created, and of course it has touch. Of course it has touch, but ever. Take a look at the front of this product. It's a 28-inch diagonal. That's 28 inches across. It pushes 13.5 million pixels. That's
That's a
about
big screen,
63%
28.
more than a 4K TV.
It is at
if you're
3x2,
doing the
I'm
math.
hearing it is.
On this product, you want to be able to see everything at all times, no matter where you are. The only thing you
3
won't
by
be able to
2,
see on
really?
Doesn't look like it, though, does it?
specifically is a pixel.
That would be a strange.
The reason for that is
That's the
closer
exact
you
same
get
ratio as the
want to
Surface
keep you
Book.
there.
Right.
Yeah, but
You ever walked up to a high
It
definition?
typically on a
makes
display
sense
like
for a
this,
device that you're going to rotate.
Clearly.
Oh,
And it's kind of blurry.
Right?
Oh, no,
But
you
this
can't
doesn't
rotate.
look
It's
like
not
it can
good for you, by the
rotate.
way. Just get further back and get perspective. You've done that, and it just gets more beautiful.
I've
and you can
often
find
said
that
with
perfect-
Surface, they need to
you can
make
find that
external
perfect distance
displays
to
that
your
match
TV.
that aspect
This
ratio,
product, no matter
just
where you
to
are, the closer
make it
you get,
easier
I
to
think
go
the more
back and
refined it
forth
gets,
between the
further you
device
get,
and a
the
big
more
screen.
perspective and
Right.
beautiful it gets, and it stays with
wish
you.
they
That's
would make a
critical if
screen
we're
So
gonna
just
it's
a
not
screen.
something you're going to
space.
watch a movie
If we're
in.
going to keep you immersed in all your content and
No.
what you're trying to create.
No, you create on these,
that's
Leo. Aren't you paying
vital.
attention?
I'm sorry.
I think that's vital.
This is not a
Missed the
consumption
memo.
device, Leo.
So now let's
We're
talk
the
about the
doers.
colors on this screen. Because
There's
when we
lots of
talk about this idea where you can't see a pixel and you need to see all your content, you
Is it
also need to be able
is
to
it 5K?
see
Is it
life
4K?
as it was meant to be.
I think it was described
So
as
we call this
4.5K,
true color.
if I remember.
And we
Yeah,
designed the product for the
4.5K.
depth of color within it. And it's kind of going to show you a
4,500
few
by
things as I walk
3,000.
through this.
Okay.
But the idea
Okay,
is
that's
we
pretty
want to
good.
render the deepest reds possible.
That's
We want to
very
bring
good.
you the truest blues possible.
Price
we want
will
to
also
bring you the
be
most vibrant
4.5K,
greens you
but-
can live with to just bring the real world as you know it.
Well,
Okay,
yeah,
think
this
if you're a
doesn't look
movie
like
director.
it's
If you're
competing
making
with
your
the
movie,
Acer
if that's
all in
what you're
one.
doing,
It's
you
it's aimed
want
at
to
a
this is a
make
high
it
premium
as the
device.
world's
It's definitely
meant to see
premium,
it in
yeah.
real color, in real life. That's critical to you.
I'm not aware of a PC premium all-in-one.
If you're the
I mean,
person
obviously the
Aside,
Mac
aside from
is.
the iMac, yeah.
Right, I mean on the
You want
PC,
to
like
see
the Windows
that
side.
intent. It's like in real life, when you take a photo, don't you want to see the beauty
they
of the
tend to
photo
be,
when you get it? Don't your memories come
home
back
computers,
with
household.
that? All those senses are firing and color being the
Affordable.
deepest and richest one. So this product, with its 13.5 million pixels, with a bunch of color calibration that we do with Surface to bring it to life, we're able to get you the most depth you can possibly find in these colors. That then allows the creator to make exactly, or render the world, if you will, as he or she believes it needs to be rendered. Now, with the integration with Windows and the device, and you hear Terry talking
Of course,
about
and
how
the
those
Macs
things come
don't
together
have
and
touch,
things light up,
so-
here's a subtlety for
Right.
you. If I just click through here, you're going to very see some, I'm going to keep clicking. You're just going to see a difference in the screen, just slight subtle changes. Now what
What's
I'm
he doing,
doing
putting
is
pixie
I'm
dust on
moving
it?
from DCI P3, which I think many of you understand, it's cool, to sRGB on the fly.
Different
Why?
color profiles.
If I'm going to create in those deep colors, but I'm not sure if my customer or who might be watching this movie has the ability to push this much pixel at somebody, or this much beauty, or this much depth. Keep in mind, there is no monitor in the planet like this one. There's 99% better color than the monitors on the planet. So there was this world where many are living in sRGB. So when you do create, this idea where I just have one flip, and as I'm creating and writing, and I'll show you that in a bit, you will find yourself saying, okay, here's the beauty of the colors, the depth of the colors, and then here's what it might look like if somebody was using sRGB. I think that's a pretty cool way to design. Okay. On top of the color, we call it true color. This idea of immersing you is important. This is a 3:2 aspect ratio. You can see that. You get the depth of color in it. Think of it as 4 14-inch displays stitched together, kind of bringing all the information you need right in front of you all at once. The idea that you can see more patterns, the idea that you can get more information all at once and stay in your product, that will lead you to draw better conclusions. That's real. When we say your ideas are your best work,
you could think of it as 16 7-inch displays,
it's
too.
critical that you can see everything.
How many phone displays would it be?
It could be.
I'm going to show you something subtle here, but sometimes, and we've talked about this, sometimes the most subtle things can have the deepest impact. Hey, Cortana, bring up the Surface Design doc.
Here's the document about Surface Studio Design.
Okay, so I'm going to just open this document and show it to you. This is Microsoft Word. You're probably familiar with it. I am going to just flip over one page to show you something. I'm holding an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. That seems
This is where 3.2 makes a lot of
like
sense.
a magic trick. I'm just holding a piece of paper.
Exactly, side by side.
This paper looks eerily familiar to what's on the screen. The reason
side.
I'm showing you that is the device itself has 192 ppi. It is tuned perfectly with Windows to scale it to true life. So if we were going to bring you true color, what was the other physical pieces we can bring that triggered that innate sense where it felt so familiar? Well, at 8.5 by 11 and 12, check this out. That is the exact same product that you see on the screen there. That's a 1-for-1 match. Subtle, yes, but important. 1 inch on this screen is 1 inch in real life. What you see is really what you get. This whole idea of print preview is completely gone. As you get into this and you work in it, you stay in it. You stay in it because it's your real work. And then Word comes in, the Microsoft Office team, and they refine their product so much to bring Studio to life that you get these unbelievable feelings. Look how clear it is as I flip through here. Isn't that cool? It's just got this smooth scroll. And if I wanted more information, I pinch it, and I can see so many documents all at one time. Whether I'm reading a book,
Triple J in our
whether
chat
I'm
room
working
says
through
it's
the
the equivalent of
or I just want to
184
get to a certain section and just absorb it. I think it's critical.
Lumia 800
We
displays.
talk about immersing you in this product quite a bit. Quite a bit.
So that was like a,
So the
that
best
was
way to
800 by 480 or whatever.
think about that is I'm going to show you is to think about the screen first. We talked about the depth of the screen. We talked about how big the screen
No,
is.
I want to believe there was math
But really,
involved.
if you're going to design around a screen, and the team called it designing a floating sheet of pixels, we want you to see this product for the pixels you're working on, for the screen, for the experiences that the software is bringing to you. What that means is
This guy's got
the
flow.
hardware
You
has to
can't deny
disappear
it.
into the background. It has to
He's got
fade
something.
away. But how?
I'm curious if this thing
Remember with the
declips
team how
from
we
its
would sit
base.
and talk every single
No,
night.
why would
turns
it? What
into-
would you do? Come on.
I know, but it's just such a surface
He's focusing
thing.
on, I want to hear what the detail he's focusing on is here.
Okay.
We also knew it had to be visually very, very quiet. And so how do you do that? Take a look at these chrome arms. When you can see them, this is important. These chrome arms were meant to completely fade into the background. Now, you'll see light hitting them now, and they look beautiful, and we're proud of that, and the design team did an incredible job bringing that to life. But what they really do is they're meant to reflect the entire environment. Why? Because when I'm in front of it, when I'm gaining perspective, or when I'm up next to it and I'm drawn into what I'm doing, that's all I should see. The rest should fade to background. Everything else should be absorbed behind me, which was critical. Now, it wasn't just the screen and the floating sheet of pixels. It was
This is cable
also about power and
management.
performance, and we know that.
Yep.
If you want a great product, we got to bring you all the pop you expect in a performant product like this. We spent tireless night taking the air out of this product, integrating a 270-watt power supply, an NVIDIA 980M GPU with a 12K on the 3D Mark, for those of you who know what it is, a Core i7 quad-core in the product, a 2TB rapid hard drive, 32 gigabytes of memory, 3 interlinked fans with unprecedented cooling. Unbelievable.
How much would you
An
pay
Xbox
for this device
protocol for
today?
wireless controllers built into the product, and 2.1 surround sound speakers. It all fits perfectly in this perfect little tiny box with only one cable coming out the back of it. We then allow for what we call the 4 floating points of contact on the base of the product, that base you just saw. And that unkinkable cable that comes out the back is locked in. So when you want to move the device, can you see how effortless that is for me? If I want to do a show me scenario or show you scenario, I can move it any way I want and just kind of show you whatever you want, but those are those four floating points that are critical. Now, many times, we can read out specs, I can tell you how performant this machine is, and it is. It is. It has been phenomenal to use. No question. But performance, a lot of time, it's just more than specs. I can do a performance demo, and you've seen those. But it's more than specs. It is about keeping you in the moment. If we're going to have you creating, if you're going to be producing, if you want to stay uninterrupted, you have to find different ways to utilize the product. One of those should be voice or conversation. Built into the product itself, there is a linear mic array that sits on the product. So I can say from across the room what I need, whether it's locked up or not locked up. You can talk to this device. I think that's pretty cool because for me, I use Cortana all the time, and it's pretty meaningful. It keeps me connected to what matters most. Like here's my best example today. Hey Cortana, add Get Mary a gift to my list.
Okay, I added that to your list.
Okay, I operate in this function. So you know, it's Mary's birthday today. She's my wife. It's October 26th. I'm in New York with all you fine people. She's in Seattle, probably watching right now, so happy birthday. But to get this gift was important to me, and to stay connected was important to me. You see how I bring it up here just by calling Cortana, and it integrates perfectly. This now integrated into Wunderlist, which is really important to me. If you haven't tried Wunderlist, give it a shot. All my phones, no matter what platform you may be using, all your phones, your Surface products, any PC, you have Wunderlist on it, and that list now carries with me, so I can remember to get Mary a gift. I feel like some of you are judging me because you think I haven't bought Mary a gift. This is a demo. And I did get Mary a gift. And it's nice. And so I'm just going to, it also says I'm rehearsing for presentation. So just to make the point, I've already done that too. Okay, that's bringing in Cortana. But that same idea to keep you connected or keep you moving or keep you productive, we also integrated a Studio HD camera. We call it the Surface Studio camera for a reason. We really focused here to bring you high-end video conferencing. That was
it's in the Surface Studio.
We wanted to bring auto exposure to you. We wanted to make sure we brought the perfect face-based rendering of color to make sure you look great or as good as you can, or maybe what it looks like in real life. And I'm sure it's great. And it also brings Windows Hello for you and your family if you were to use this product at home. And I think it's pretty impactful. Between the camera and the mics, to keep you immersed and keep moving, I think it's pretty important. Now, this is Surface Studio. It's beautiful. We think you're going to love it as is.
But
it's got the best screen in
there
its
is
class.
one more thing.
One more thing.
The performance is going to be unmatched. The Cortana and Skype integration, Microsoft Office coming to life on the product, Windows and Office together have never been better on any given single product ever. What do you think of Surface Studio? Okay. We've done this before. Surface has always been about more.
What do you think?
It was never
Is it detachable?
as simple
Is it
as just a
does
desktop.
it float?
It doesn't
Pro
look like
is
it
more
could
than
be
a tablet.
detachable.
And why would you want it?
I
It's
bet this is
28
about
inches.
this
So much
dial
more than a
thing, the
laptop.
Surface
Oh,
dial.
the dial, the knob.
Even Hub.
Right.
It's more than just a whiteboard. All of these are category-defining products.
The
Why would
dial is a
Studio be different?
voice-activated remote. Has to
Studio
be.
is made to bring out the creative, made to define a new category. It's not just another beautiful
Oh, man, is
PC.
he drawing this out?
It is a product that was made to help get you to your most creative point.
Yeah, yeah.
You.
Yeah. Yeah.
You.
Me? Yeah.
Doesn't matter how you create.
Yeah.
Now, let me take you back. Do you remember
No.
David William Hearn?
Don't take me back.
Remember last year I
You know when you
talked
play
about David
basketball
William
and you
Hearn.
know what to
He's a
do?
composer. He makes symphonies. He inspires me. What a lovely human being. But he makes his symphonies on Surface. Let's try this. Hey, Cortana, play David William Hearn.
Playing David William Hearn.
Take a listen. God, so beautiful. Now, do you remember? We talked about David. This is David in his flow, where he's creating at his best. He puts his pen to a screen. The hardware disappears to the background. He finds his flow, and he makes beautiful symphonies. He's a creator, there's no doubt. But I think what today's about We're all creators. You don't have to be David or
Did he
that
forget
artist
what he was going to tell
or
us?
the designer, or you can be. You could be that office accountant late at night working, building their own symphony on a spreadsheet.
You could be Stephen
Or how about
Curry.
your teachers? The teachers who may teach your kids.
I'm probably never
The
going to make
impact
a
that they
symphony.
have on the world. Aren't they creating?
Oh, it's back.
Every single one of us is a creator. We want to use this product to help every one of us create. Start with your mind.
I swear to God, I
Move
think he
through your
forgot.
heart. Let it out your hand.
He's trying to remember
onto a
right now.
Beautiful screen and into someone
is it?
else's life.
Have I mentioned
This
the basketball thing yet?
Is about endless possibilities and pure imagination.
Why did I say I didn't have a teleprompter?
It's like a Disney presentation.
Oh,
Like
here
Tinkerbell's
comes.
going to fly out.
Here comes the revised video.
Here comes the reveal.
Yeah.
It's going to like explode off the base.
We've just been acquired by Disney.
The thing is, there are already all-in-ones where the screen doesn't detach. But all the componentry, of course, is in the base. It's not behind the screen.
I think it's
so-
going to detach, although
What would that thing be, though? Like a remote
Yeah.
display, essentially?
like a table.
A serving platter.
Here it comes. Oh my God.
This is also... This exists.
The
fact,
Acer
displays do
Acer R7 did this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not...
Something similar.
I mean, this to me would be the minimum. Of course it does this.
There you go.
Now, is she going to put it on the
No.
Oh my God.
Everything is different now.
It's a knob that goes on the screen. Now, what do you think?
Actually, I think that's pretty cool.
It's cool. Yeah.
Well,
Seems like it would
you
get
don't
in the
have to-
way. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to put a knob on your screen, but
Then you take it off.
Well-
why do you want to pull down panels of controls in
Right.
Photoshop over and over and over again, which hide the surface that you're working
Right.
on? You know,
it's definitely the first screen with a knob.
And was that a Photoshop or Adobe app that was being shown?
Oh, I don't think so. No, because you have
Curious.
to have that functionality where you sense the knob.
I mean, it's not far-fetched for Adobe to come out on stage now. They've done that before.
it could have been paint.
Yeah, we don't know why we're clapping, but that was awesome.
Now this is Surface Studio.
I guess the knob's useful. I think the lying it back is great.
So I
that's
walk you
useful.
through it, but this is really a new way to create. It's a new way to produce. It's absolutely a new way to work. It's meant to turn your desk into a studio. That's what it's going
I presume
to
you
do.
could do the same thing that you do with a knob
Now,
with your fingers.
The idea behind it is we want you to be able to move effortlessly between those perspectives of
So
drawing,
it's a table again.
drafting, up to typing, back through, so you can move through your motions and nothing gets in your way. It was designed in a way where this
Can you
hinge
buy
had to
multiple
come to life,
knobs?
and there was so much around it. And those arms that disappear in the background, they play this critical role. There are 80 custom parts in those two arms,
Wow.
each having 80, which is critical. Creating a zero gravity hinge. What does that
boy.
mean? Basically means it's weightless.
It's
that's
exactly
critical.
what Steve Jobs
Because
said
what we
about the
have is a
lamp
13
Mac.
I was gonna. I owned one of those iMacs, and that was weightless as well. It was
Yeah,
really
no, that's
impressive.
exactly what he said. That was the whole.
And not just weightless, but it could stay where you left it.
Right.
It wouldn't wobble or whatever.
Right. He made a big point of that. That was what,
that allows
15
you to
years
put
ago?
it in any position you want.
10 years ago?
And if
Yeah,
you
it was a
wanted
while
to
ago.
draft,
15.
and if you
It was-
wanted to
it was,
create, you get
pretty sure it was
really into your
2001.
product. We
Yeah.
talked about the
Yeah.
screen. So the closer you get to it, the more powerful that
Of
becomes.
course, on this
for
device, you need to be able to write on it, and so
Because
that thing
it's
needs
so
to.
clear
True.
and
Touch is a
clarity
big
was
difference,
critical.
isn't it? Yeah.
Critical. So I'm going to bring us to the Surface Pen now. This is one of my favorite devices on the planet. I think it's making a difference in so many people's world. We're seeing pens catch up digitally everywhere. I think it's just awesome. People are writing again. I believe that writing pulls out creativity in many of us, almost all of us. Put your pen to paper, and it's meant to be innate. It's something you have always done. But then take Microsoft Office, and let's bring up that studio document one more time. So I'm going to bring up the studio doc, and I'm going to walk you through some of the technicalities of the pen here. And we'll bring that up for you. So this is that same document. Try not to take too many pictures. There's a lot of pieces coming together here. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out and take just a different look at the collection of images here. I'll probably come here, and this is the design for thermal that we're looking at, which is cool. Now, if I want to edit a document in that real-time editing, have you seen this with Word? It's a very, very cool way to look at it. I'm going to do this in red. You don't actually have to do anything anymore. The idea where you pick up a pen, put it down to paper, and start writing. And remember, put it down to paper. This is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. What makes this demo kind of weird is I'm a lefty, so I'm sorry about that. And, you know, I write weird, but I'm going to just show you some positions so you can kind of understand where I'm able to put my arm down and relax the way I want to. Now, this is Windows working, what we call palm rejection, where it's so important that when you lean on this device, you get all the way into it. If you're going to immerse yourself, nothing wants to bring you out. And then I write. Now, look at the latency, meaning the speed of the ink coming out of my pen.
Well, we can't tell because we can't see your pen.
And how smooth it is. So we'll try it here. The idea of I'm able to write at full speed, the idea behind that is the latency we talk about.
I don't know what it is about filming these things, but it often appears to lag on screen, like when you see it in video. But in person, it's actually very accurate.
Yeah, I think that's the only way to judge it. You can't. You have to do it.
That crossing of the analog or the physical and digital world that you heard about today is just as real on these devices. And it's critical because it kind of brings us to a pretty cool space. Now, I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to get to the end of this document because this is really how I work. I'm a creator in documents. I know that sounds weird, but that's what I am. I read a lot. I write a lot. That's how I create.
By the way, you should
Every
probably
night
not
I do writing.
lean on that screen
In the morning,
too
we
much.
have some meetings, and I tell my stories to the team, and we inspire products, and we go drive for the best we can be. But I do writing, and it's super meaningful to me. This document can do the same thing, but let's just step back and look at what Word and Office is doing for now me editing a document. So this spec is meaningful to me. This spec is written by a gentleman by the name of Peter. He's one of our product leaders. And he would have put this spec together. If I wanted to give him feedback or edit something, if there's something I like, imagine how you can just simply scribble and the entire paragraph knows I'm trying to highlight it and it just comes to life. Pretty cool,
If you're standing
right?
up, that's not so hard. If you're sitting
I don't
down,
like this part of the document. Just scribble it
I don't
out
know.
and it goes away
Maybe this is
because
for
it's not
standing
what
up.
was intended and the document just reflows perfectly. That's the power of Microsoft Office and the pen and that innate feeling. Pretty cool.
Well, this is very much
I'm going to zoom back out.
Form factor like a drafting table.
Yeah.
A classic. This is a classic drafting table, and there are a lot of people who sit at a stool and work at a drafting table, and then have to swivel over to another desk to work at a PC.
Sure. Problem is, you got a keyboard in front of it. He's moved that out of the way. You would want to slide that closer to you. A drafting table, you're sitting right at the table. You're not sitting.
I wonder
a foot and a
if
half
that's
away.
why it's that thin profile keyboard, because an ergonomic keyboard would really get in the way. Maybe it's possible for it to be under there.
Watch how I just come up to show you what I wrote, which is cool. I now want to introduce you to this thing, the Surface Dial. The Surface Dial was created as a new form of input. We've learned a ton over the last several years of how people are using their pen and how they use their other hand to operate, whether it's touching the screen, grabbing a mouse, typing, but there's so many different flows of interaction that happen. This product was meant to help you change that workflow, give you that next option to help you create even faster. Now, we have integrated global controls into this, which are part of Windows. I know that sounds like a lot of words, but what it means is it's built right into Windows. As I hold it down, can you see right here in the middle of the
Late
screen?
to warn
If you
us
bring
of
this
that.
up, you can see that here I have the dial essentially on my screen in front of me. This allows me to select different things within Windows. In this sense, I'm going to show you a new product called Ink Replay. You'll notice my ink went away on the screen. That was purposeful. But watch as I move the dial to the right as the ink comes back on the screen. If you can see my hand and you see the ink coming to life behind me. Now here's what I love about this. I can recreate this ink or I can
Let's go to
take
the
it away
tape.
at any given time.
That's magical.
But if the team gets this document and they want to replay my emotion, you can
Let's see
it
how
as it
he
came
wrote
out of my
that.
hand.
Let's go
If
to
I had
emotion
typed that
replay.
message, you would not have the inner pieces of what came with it. Those 3 exclamation points may not look the same.
Oh.
The writing may have looked faster or slower, which is important. Let me show you another cool trick. If I just come here, this product comes to life with the scroll wheel. So as I scroll, can you see this
That's
flipping?
useful.
Just moving my hand and flipping through. Showing you
So
how
this
the
is
device works
an
off the
alternative to the
screen. Show you how it works
trackpad.
on the screen in just a minute.
Yeah, and this has been
If you
around
have
for a
a
long
Surface
time.
Pro
As I
3,
said, this was an
if you have
accessory for a
Surface
Mac
Pro 4,
that Griffin
if you have
made
a
years
Surface
ago.
Book, this mode of interaction is for
There's
you too.
Glowed.
So don't worry. If you already have
Turn
one
up
of
the
those,
volume and music
you can grab
with
a
it, too.
Surface Dial. You can turn up your volume, turn it down, change the brightness, scroll through your
The
document
Griffith-
like I do
Griffin
here.
Power
You
Mate.
can do all the magical things that the dial does for you to help you create. Now, in a world where I end my creations in Word, there
I
are
had one for
others
a long
out there
time, but I
that
never really
start
used
their
it much.
creations in Word. I have a dear friend here who's got an awesome set of pieces in comic book world, if you will. Well, he calls them motion books. Please give a warm welcome to Ben, the Madefire CEO. Hey, Ben.
I wonder if he'd want to draw on this. Just set it up as a drafting table and
Hey, your own pen?
I'm good.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
might be interesting.
Madefire is all about storytelling, and in particular, comics. We love comics because they're such a powerful storytelling format.
I mean, the Cintiq is
They are
a
literally
popular, very
words
expensive
and pictures. We've built a
Wacom
platform
add-on.
that
You know, it's
enables
a
anyone
screen
to
you
make a
can
digital book we
draw
call
on.
a motion book. And motion books have motion, sound.
We're almost up to the
depth.
2-hour mark of
To create
Microsoft's
a motion book,
Windows 10 event.
It's really important to have a digital
Paul
book.
Thurrott's with me from Thurrott.com, Ed Bott from ZDNet.
So here we go.
Mary Jo Foley's in the room, and we'll go into the demo room after this. We'll get her take on that at noon, starting at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, when we begin Windows Weekly about an hour late.
Nilay Patel from The Verge just pointed out, as you did, Leo, that this was one of the hottest peripherals of 2002, and with a link to the Griffin technology.
Yeah.
Nice. But that's, I mean, I think that's a cheap.
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean it's not
a
useful.
cheap reference.
Yeah.
You know, there's, Apple. Nothing that Apple has made has ever been really truly original.
No, right.
The point is quality and
utility.
And
I was
utility.
literally
And-
just thinking
and-
that exact same
and at the
thing.
right
Yep.
time.
Yeah.
This is Microsoft not inventing something new. It's Microsoft formalizing something into what they're going to describe as a new product category. But they didn't invent 2-in-1s, but they did formalize 2-in-1s, with Surface Pro.
By the way, he's
And
another
now everyone
lefty
copies it.
here. But he's doing his this makes sense. This is interesting. By the way, he's also slid it to the edge. So he's put the keyboard aside and he's using it as a
the
drafting
keyboard
tool.
bit's
a little awkward.
Yeah.
And I've got a caption.
He's also standing.
Up here.
Although I think you could do this sitting down.
And I've
pretty
got a dialogue, which I will put here.
I also just read online
pretty
that the
happy
Surface Dial works with existing Surface
Here
devices.
it's very simple.
Ah.
But previously, I would
Interesting.
be writing in Word. I'd be printing out onto paper.
So it's not the same as
I'd be
the
finding a
as this
pencil, I'd be drawing my
the one that
thumbnails.
comes with the Surface
rewrite,
Pro or the
reprint,
Surface Book.
Staple, unstaple.
Something
I've
different.
been known to lose my pages. And ultimately, I'd be scanning all of that back in order to get back to here and back into my workflow. Have none of that problem when I'm in studio. So my next stage is art.
Yeah, and you wouldn't do that with a mouse. You
So
really this
to
is
tackle
something
my
you
art
would only
in
do
layers,
with a pen.
I'm in Photoshop, which is a fantastic place to
There
do
is
this.
in Photoshop.
And this is my pencil stage. You can see that.
Look at how tiny
And
all
I'm going
those
to go up to
buttons
my
are.
2B pencil and my pencil layer. And here I'm really thinking about Mono's expression. He's not too happy because he's being chased. So let's just get a nice grumpy jaw in. And the mouth is very important here. So it's kind of working. And he's got a strong cheekbone.
And with the Surface Dial, you could
And I want to get a sense
rewind
of where
and
his hairline is.
Turn that frown into upside down.
And this is a strong jaw. So I'm pretty happy with that. And my next stage is to go to my inks. And inking is all about landing the blacks. And here I'm going to pick this
I
brush
think
that I
everything
love,
you do
which
with the
is my
dial, you could easily do with gestures as well.
And we can have some fun.
But maybe this is a slightly more natural when it's in this form factor. Maybe using a mouse becomes kind of awkward.
Right.
And I can go in here and really show you what I'm up to, which is it's nice to see it big. So what I love about
the quality of these kind of pencil strokes, whatever, is amazing.
Very good for doing this.
That's really remarkable.
And I can get a bit
So,
of.
what do you think the price is going to be on this, guys?
Jeez, 3,000?
4.5K. It's got to be at least 2,500, 3,000.
What I love is Panos talked about
$28.99.
really immediate, so I can really modulate between my.
But if you want the dial,
strokes here. So as I come back out,
it's going to cost you.
You get a sense of that.
The one more thing here.
The dial has to be available separately, but I would think that it must be included with the base package of this particular device. So, and I think they probably want to try and get this under a $3,000 price point, but I'll bet you can spec it up to almost $4,000.
Right. The mood, the lighting.
Yeah, we're talking starting price. Yeah.
And it's a really good to sort of stand back at this stage and
they talked about the drive, a 3 terabyte. What do you say, rapid drive or something?
I think
sounds like a hybrid.
Really fast. It's probably just a PCIe, M2, whatever.
Well, at that size, it's probably a hybrid. I would guess a hybrid flash and spinning.
Now I can.
I hope not. I have an all-in-one that uses that kind of drive, and you can hear it clicking in there.
Works in any browser.
But that's the only way you can get 3 terabytes. Is you have to have rotating media.
We've got our
otherwise it's $5,000 for the drive alone.
Right. Sequence here.
Yeah.
So we're establishing
That's beautiful.
mono.
Look at that.
We've got our caption.
That's pretty cool
that's
what he just did. I don't know how he did it, but that's.
And my next sequence is looking
pretty awesome.
Pretty good. So I'm ready to hit.
Yeah, he's not bad.
I guess this guy could have a
my
career.
motion book into the Made-Fire app.
No, but what's neat is the entire workflow is on the computer, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's a completely digital workflow, and it looks like it was made on analog paper materials.
Looks fabulous.
Someone from the UK just suggested that the price will increase about 1% each week.
In the UK, for sure.
with the Brexit tax.
Yeah. It's high 2000s. It has to be.
Somebody on Twitter says, can we get a second dial and use the studio like a giant Etch-a-Sketch?
Pong, baby. Pong is back and better than ever.
It's good.
It's an excellent demo.
It's cool to see it up here, I have to say. Thank you.
So this is for composers and artists and designers and architects.
Makes it possible to have my entire creative process in one place. It's an incredible thing for creators and storytellers, and certainly for making motion books on Made-Fire. Thank you.
That was pretty cool.
It's a beautiful device. I'm still kind of struck by the necessity of it, but.
So you saw how Studio changes the way I work, how I create, and it has been a phenomenal product to do so. You can see how it's changing how Ben works. Now we have a ton of other partners we've been working with to bring Studio to life and to bring the Surface Dial specifically to life and that mode of interaction between the two. There's a company by the name of Mental Canvas. There's been some images around here. It's a pretty interesting company. It's awesome. Julie Dorsey's the CEO. It's this true example of where the software was built specifically for this device. This is a drawing you're looking at. This is Spring Studios. This is exactly where we are. And you can see all the dimensions in the drawing where the lines are coming out of this thing, and it's pretty beautiful. And it's an image that comes to life only on something where you're able to put the pen down, the dial down, and start creating in a product like Mental Canvas. You're going to meet Julie later. When you go down to the workshop, you'll be able to see all the details of what she does and many of our other partners. One of the things that we learned here with Dial that really kind of inspired us was the fact that when a developer, a designer, a creator, or even somebody who sits down to edit through documents and wants to move faster, the idea where both of your hands are engaged, one on the Surface Dial, the other with a pen, and you're in mode and you're immersed and you're flowing, it's very, very intense and you can get so much out of it. We then took a few minutes working with our developers to put a small vignette together so you can see what's happening.
That's a good
with the
use
Surface
case. You got
Studio
the pen
and
in the
Surface
left
dial.
hand or the right hand and the dial in the other hand. That actually seems like a good use
When
case.
I saw the Surface Studio for the first time, the jaw drops a little bit.
The Surface dial with the Studio, there's just this magic that takes place.
It's definitely redefining
You don't really need
the
to put it on
concept
the
of
screen.
desktop.
I mean, that's more a demo than...
Sketchable is principally designed for pen and touch input. The Surface Studio fits it to a T. With the Surface Studio, what I saw immediately was
I do like the way that it makes those option panels appear and disappear.
Right.
Where you don't have to go up to a menu somewhere or over to a toolbar on the side to pop them out and then hide them again. You know.
I don't know what
So
software
it
does that, though. I mean,
It was like the old version of OneNote for, I think, for Windows 8, which had a radial menu.
Yeah, the radial
Worked out
menus
the
have been
same
around for a while in a lot of drawing programs, actually.
You really have a new collaborative way of interacting with documents.
It is essentially the same
called
angle as the
ArtRage
drafting
used-
table.
used
You're more
those radial.
immersed in the technology once you're down in studio mode.
With the dial, there's an off-screen and on-screen presence, and so
And this is not for writers.
makes sense to me.
Huh. I don't know what
This
you'd
is
use
not a
this.
machine. This is not a machine for writers. So, Paul and I are definitely not the target.
I don't know. As I
No.
get older, 72-point text.
But writers want mobile, want portable stuff, right? I mean, you guys don't. You're not gonna. You don't want to sit at a desk with a big old
You just
screen.
get this really fluid
It's very,
experience.
very much
Well,
for the
the
visual.
feature
artist.
set for this thing is very much
visual,
visual, creative
The
things.
experience so far has been seamless.
It's going to change the way that people do work at their desk.
Once you start to use it, you don't feel like you're working with a computer anymore. You feel like the computer's serving you rather than the other way
So
around.
Brad says starting price is $29.99.
There you go. That would make a lot of sense. This is a really a new category and a new product. I think they have innovated.
I mean, because right now somebody's using a Mac Pro and a separate tablet. What do they call them? The pen-based
It's like a
device.
Wacom tablet type.
Yeah, like a
or
Wacom tablet.
or a Cintiq screen with it. Yeah.
Right.
Put your hands on it, get close to it, get close up to that screen.
Yep.
Now for
$29.99.
$3,000, it's an incredible
$3,000.
value. It's for the creators and the professionals out there. But it's
Better come
also
with
for
an
anyone who
aluminum
wants
pen
to
loop.
replace multiple monitors or somebody who uses a pad for just writing. It's got so much opportunity. I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on it. I just can't. I want you to get your hands on this product.
Pre-order October 26th.
Now
but
it's
when?
available in limited quantities this holiday, so if you do want to get your hands on your
Limited
product,
quantities.
you better do that pretty quickly.
That's not a good term.
Yeah.
This is a product that I believe
This
believe
is an innovative product. Very interesting product.
truly brings
Yeah, it's neat.
$3,000
It really is.
$3,000. I'm
Yeah.
told.
And a very he just said and a niche.
I think it's going to enable each
Yeah,
and every
frankly,
one of
but
us.
That's what makes it strange. And
To achieve
focusing the next version of Windows on
With
that
that,
same niche
I would like to welcome
seems a little.
Satya.
It's a little strange.
And here comes the CEO.
Thank you. Thank you, Panos. It's fantastic to be here in New York City. What you saw today is the magic we can create when we take that most malleable of resources, software, mix it with hardware innovation, and birth new computers and new computing experience. But more importantly, it is about empowering everyone with a new set of tools, creating a new platform of opportunity for everyone. Each of us has an innate desire to create, to connect, to express. That's what makes us human. This is what the first computers were designed to do, to help people get more done and more productive. The last 10 years, our industry has seen the emergence of a variety of new technologies, social networks, devices, applications, services. Much of that innovation has been slanted towards consumption.
Ah, there you go, Paul.
helping us consume more information and media in different formats.
Microsoft takes a stand against consumption.
Absolutely has
Don't be a
place in our
consumer.
lives, and it should rightfully be celebrated.
Be a creator.
However, I believe that the next 10 years will be defined by technology that empowers profound creation. At Microsoft,
I think a more
our
accurate
mission
point
is
might
to
be that any device can do consumption, whereas you have to put a lot of engineering and a lot of work into it to make something suitable for creation.
that stands for
This was the
an
debate
iPad
over the
Pro.
iPad, and of course the iPad Pro was Apple's response to that.
That's who we are. Every choice we make is about finding that balance between consumption and creative expression. I'm inspired by what I see in the Minecraft generation, who view themselves not as players of a game, but as creators of new worlds that they dream up. When we think about the future of computers and computing, we think about this generation and everyone who's inspired by them, the new forms of creativity, the expression that we can unleash. This is what motivates us with Windows 10. As we pursue our ambition to bring more personal computing into our lives, we're building Windows.
I know this is sacrilege, but I find his talks to be devoid of content.
Output modalities.
He just talks, and I don't understand what he's talking. He doesn't seem to say anything.
Speak, see, touch, experience computing in new ways.
Kind of CEO speak.
With Surface, we're creating a new category that transforms your desk into a creative studio. A tool for creation, connection, and expression. We're also bringing together Windows with Office, Windows with gaming, all as cloud-connected, AI-enhanced, trusted experiences that span all your devices. What you also saw today was the birth of a new medium. A
The
future
Surface
where we
Studio
can
is on the
move from
Microsoft Store website, by the way.
constructs to 3D.
For pre-order.
Yep.
From 3D objects to holograms. And from holograms to
Release date
mixed
is
reality.
mid-December.
So the top
We think
model
of
is
mixed reality as
4,200.
that ability to
Yep.
seamlessly
That
share
is firmly in
experiences
yikes territory.
across your digital
Not if you're
That's almost $1 per pixel.
scanning a sandcastle.
Yeah, but if you're a Mac user, this is
Making it a 3D
territory you're
object in the
familiar
virtual
with.
world,
Professional
sharing
Mac
it,
user.
I think that's
And
what
if
makes
you're-
me so
well,
uncomfortable about
and
it.
if you're
It's
doing any kind
unfamiliar
of
for me.
creative, if you're doing CAD, if you're doing CAD, you're already used to paying those prices for a workstation.
mixed reality
Sure.
for everyone. We want the artists, the musicians, the architects, the students, the gamers, the builders, the makers, everyone who creates, all of us, to help bring this mixed reality medium to life. We want to empower people from playing games to broadcasting games, from watching the broadcast to interacting with the broadcast, from capturing 3D to designing in 3D, from creating a 3D object to sharing a 3D object as a hologram, from a siloed digital and analog world to a new immersive mixed reality world. To close, I want to go back where we started this morning. What permeates throughout all of this is that ultimately technology is just a tool in the hands of humanity. A tool that helps amplify our ingenuity and creativity. New computing medias do not take shape by technology alone. It is up to the creators to seize the moment and bring technology to life. We're at this point in our industry, in our history, when a new computing platform and a new computing medium can empower profound creation. One of my favorite poets, Rainer Maria Rilke, captures it best. The future enters into us and transforms itself in us long before it happens. It is for each of us collectively to imagine the future, create it, and let ourselves be transformed by it. Thank you all very, very much. Thanks.
Well, there you go. Microsoft's Windows 10 event. Now, I presume the journalists present will be able to go play with the devices.
The spirit of creativity lives in all of us.
The Surface Studio, the biggest announcement, a 1 terabyte i5 version with 8 gigs of RAM is $29.99 and available for pre-order on the Microsoft Store. The i7 with 16 gigs of RAM, much more likely to be something a professional would want, $3,500. And if you're going to put a 2 terabyte hard drive in and 32 gigs of RAM, you're going to bump it up to $41.99. That's the highest price.
And it does not include the dial.
Yeah, get a free Surface dial when you buy, which implies that it won't always be that way.
Right.
It also, so the 4 gig, no, wait, that's not the high-end version.
High-end version is
so the high-end version says, no.
The GPU is 4 gigs. The RAM is 32 gigs, and it's a 2 terabyte.
It looks like you can go up to 2 terabyte SSD.
Yeah. Is it SSD? Does it say SSD?
Yeah, that's what it says.
All right. So I must have misunderstood. I thought he said it was a 3 terabyte drive in there. It's 1 terabyte. And that one of the big reasons the price jump, of course.
I mean, I'm glad it's not a traditional hard drive. I think that would have been a big problem.
This says 2 terabyte SSD.
Yeah. For the top of the line.
For the top of the line.
Yeah.
And then 1 terabyte for the other two.
No, yeah. I apologize. That's not the case. If you go down, it says rapid hybrid drive options. Those are not SSDs.
Well, okay. Maybe that's something you can configure.
I'll bet that's something you can configure if you want to have 4 terabytes or 8 terabytes.
It doesn't offer a configuration.
Typically, with Microsoft now, you get these 3 SKUs and nothing else. There's no BTO, no build to order. And in all 3 cases, they're rapid hybrid drives, 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes.
This is true, but also typically they start with X small number of pre-configured devices, and then it'll go up to another, maybe there'll be 4, maybe there'll be 5 by the time you're done here. And some of those are likely, they could go down in specs a little bit to capture an under $2,500 price point. They could go up in specs to capture higher storage. Although this makes sense to use an external storage device, frankly.
Well, and we saw that happen with the Surface Book. They added SKUs, but they did it later, months later. They already said this was going to be in a short supply through the end of the year. So let's recap a very kind of surprisingly different presentation today from Microsoft, I would say. Almost to me, and I'd love to know what you guys think, a left turn for a company that has really been focusing on enterprise over the last few months.
I would buy that. All of the enterprise stuff of Windows 10 is still there. There's and I think they've got a pretty solid story to tell for people who want to deploy Windows 10 in an enterprise. So I don't think there was much that they needed to do there. This is them trying to position themselves as cool for consumers, especially the young Minecraft audience. Get them. This is your next generation of computing. Join us for this. And then really addressing the creative professionals who right now are feeling a little bit lost and left out by a lot of the Mac offerings. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But I know that there's a lot of people who are unhappy about the product selection that they have available from Apple right now.
Yeah, there's definitely an opportunity woo those away. I don't know how big that market is. I think one of the reasons Apple doesn't keep their high-end stuff up to date is that they've kind of decided that that's not a big market for them. And I guess relative to the iPhone, it's not. Maybe relative to the PC market, it's.
But a lot of that has to do with Apple also not being willing to add touch to their desktop platforms and only to the iPad Pro. So they've been trying to position the iPad Pro as the device for serious content creators. And whereas anybody who does anything that involves a pen has to use an external tablet and in a Mac Pro.
They began with a kind of a look at a new program, Microsoft Paint, a 3D version of the Microsoft stalwart. They also talked about the next edition of Windows 10, the Creative Edition, which they said would be available early next year. We think it's in March, and for free, which kind of confirms what we've thought all along. It's a free update. With a focus on creativity, which is, maybe not, I feel like it's something Microsoft looked like it was about to abandon the consumer market. And this is a definite, it's not exactly the consumer market. It's the creative professional market, isn't it? Although they showed a home, they showed a family, they showed 3D creation of sandcastles. It seemed to be they were aiming at, maybe it's the creative home consumer.
And the VR headset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The new VR headset to partner with the HoloLens. Although the VR headset had a price point that was lower than the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive, it was still higher than the low-end Gear VR and the Google Cardboard headsets and the Google Daydream headsets. Didn't look like it was much more sophisticated than either, although they mentioned, at 6-axis rotation.
6 degrees of freedom.
6 degrees of freedom. What is that?
That's the ability to
left,
move,
right, up, down,
to manipulate an object
backward and forward.
Yeah, in all 3 dimensions, and then plus depth.
Yeah. All right. They didn't say what availability would be for that, did they? They just mentioned the price.
I don't see it. No, they did not. But it also doesn't, to compare it to what Google is offering, Google is offering something that's basically a cradle for a phone.
Right. An accessory for your phone. Yep.
This is...
Cardboard has one button.
Standalone.
Daydream has 2.
Right.
It's basically... Right. It's very, very much entry-level stuff.
Right. Well, I'm not clear how this is much different than that, but I guess we'll have to look and see.
I think it's just going to be positioned between, say, Daydream and then a full VR solution like Oculus Rift or Hive. I mean,
it is standalone, right? It does not use a phone, as far as I could see. It has a computer.
No, but it uses your PC, right?
It does use your PC? All right.
It must, right? It's not it can't be a standalone.
It's an accessory for your PC.
Yeah, it has to be an accessory.
All right. As low as $299. They also announced an update to the Surface Book with much better battery life, which is a good thing because I have my first-generation Surface Book here, and it didn't quite last all the way through the 2-hour presentation. Sure. So if they can get to 16 hours from 2 hours,
right?
That's
good.
Or
if you hot bag it on a flight, you might still have battery life left at the end.
What was this rated at? 6 hours?
I don't remember.
Something like that. 6 to 8 hours. 7 to 8.
Yeah. So there's the factor. I'm getting a quarter of what they're rating it at. So maybe you'll get 4 hours with the new 16
That's strange because I typically get 5 to 7 hours out of mine.
Maybe something's wrong with it. I wasn't doing anything but looking at Edge the whole time. So I don't know.
They're actually calling out the GPU this time. They were very mysterious about the last one, but the last one was an NVIDIA 1 gigabyte part, and this is an NVIDIA something specific.
I think this is the
number,
980M, which is a mobile.
2 gigs of video RAM, and a lot of the Xbox Play Anywhere games I've tried throw up a warning at the beginning and say you need 2 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah, you can play Minecraft on the current Surface Book. That's about it. It's really not good enough, as I learned right away, for Oculus Rift or Vive. It's not anywhere near close to those specs. Although I don't think the new one will be either. But the big...
No, it's a poor poor gaming experience.
Yeah. The big story really is this Creative Studio... What is it? Creative Surface Studio
Surface Studio.
Surface Studio.
Yeah.
All in one with the pivoting arms. It allows you to look at it at 28-inch 3x2 screen.
Yep. Very
high-res screen, 4.5K screen that allows you
I'm glad the screen doesn't detach.
Does not detach, but it does lie down.
Yeah.
And the dial, which is an optional feature, the pen, price point starting at $29.99. And this is clearly aimed at creative professionals. It's not a home. It's not a home PC. It's not. It's a PC for creative professionals. With it looks like many of the features creative professionals would want.
Yeah, and I think we can expect some really interesting reviews of this because there are very, very few people out there in the tech press who are qualified to to properly review a product like this, and yet they will.
Yeah. Well, it's designed for...
we also can't afford it.
Right, yeah.
Which is as big a problem.
It's pricey. It's designed for the designer and the artist. And of course, one of the things people will do immediately is measure the screen. I'm sure DisplayMate will measure it. They are claiming very interestingly, what was it, both P3 and sRGB color gamut.
Right.
And easily switched back and forth. It really looks to be a very, very nice screen. And at a price point below comparable iMac, which is, of course, a year and a half, 2 years old. So unless Apple announces new iMacs tomorrow, which they're not expected to do, this will have the market to itself for some time. Although they did say it's in short supply. You could pre-order it today, but there will be only a small number available before the end of the year.
By the way, I did also notice in looking through the specs, these are all Skylake based.
Skylake, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
As we speculated, Microsoft not taking a chance with the Kaby Lake, even though it's available.
No, give it 6 months. Let somebody else introduce those and figure out where the bugs are in the drivers and firmware.
Yep.
And then have a fighting chance in spring. By the way, they said the launch date for the Creators Update, it's the official name of this, is spring of next year. Now they're saying 1703.
Yeah.
But spring begins March 21st. So I'm expecting that that basically just as the anniversary update came out in July and was made available to existing Windows 10 users in August, I would expect something similar to happen with the code being finalized in March and then released to the public in April, and probably released slowly to the public just as they did with the anniversary update, because you want to put it out there on systems that are most capable of accepting the update properly, get the feedback from telemetry, then roll it out a little further, and so on.
Of course, another factor in all of this is that Microsoft doesn't want to compete with its OEMs, and I think this is a category that is not only unique, but small enough that OEMs aren't going to really be hurt by it. And at the same time, it gives Microsoft a chance to make a reference Windows PC. So that makes.
I think it's a good point.
Yeah. It fits in nicely into their goals without peeving the OEMs, as they were a little bit peeved by the Surface Note,
the original Surface in particular.
Yeah. Right. Anything else, guys? What do you think?
I think I can't afford it.
It was a long 2 hours. The entire first hour spent looking at software, 3D software, and the new Paint. They didn't say anything about Paint availability. I guess it's coming out with the Redstone 2, I would guess. I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me. In fact, they did say that the first insider builds of the Creators Update will be coming this week. Now, they just released one yesterday, right. So I would imagine what that means is there's another one coming this week, and presumably we'll be seeing that Paint 3D program sometime soon on insider builds.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking as well. Maybe eventually we'll see the People integration into the taskbar and so forth.
But they have decoupled. They've decoupled a lot of the features that you used to think of as being part of Windows. Those are now delivered as apps, so those can almost be, they can be asynchronous.
Yeah, and they are. For example, this week we had that big mail release that's on the fast ring. It will go to the slow ring. It will go to the production ring. Everyone will have it, and that will be months before the next version of Windows ships. That's not a bad system.
It also raises a question mark about the Surface Studio because for the Surface Studio to really sing, it needs software designed to use the dial, designed to use the touch and the pen. And I don't think Paint's enough. And they did not bring Adobe out on the stage. So while they did show Photoshop in one of the demos, it certainly wasn't tooled to work.
I'm surprised by that, actually, given the creativity angle today.
Yeah, they're going to need software to back it up.
Yeah.
Well, the pen support with all the Adobe apps is already there. I mean, we've got many testimonials of creative professionals using pen-based Windows 10 devices.
But as you saw in that resolution, the touch points are pretty small.
So the question becomes then how much work is involved in adding support for that dial?
Right.
Because if you're just using it as the little trackpad substitute, then that's one thing. But being able to put it on the screen and have it pop up those panels of options.
Yeah,
that's
Photoshop will have to support it natively if you're going to get a radial dial of options for that app.
Although that raises an interesting issue because until now, Photoshop and all the Creative Cloud products on Mac and PC were, I think, functionally identical. That would add a large feature set that would not be available on the Mac. I guess Touch isn't available on the Mac either, but Touch is essentially just using what the mouse would do, right? It's not.
No.
So it has pressure sensitivity and all that stuff.
Pressure sensitivity and a whole bunch of other stuff.
So there is already a difference between the Windows and Mac versions.
But that capability is available on a Mac using a Wacom tablet.
Right. Oh yeah, good point.
Good point. So that's there. So the question is, with those radial controls from the dial, what is the kind of work that a developer has to do? How hard is that? And what happens when you share that code across platforms?
Right.
But very, very, cool stuff. I think this was a I was a little confused at first, wondering where they were going with this. But I think what's interesting is they told the story. They sort of started with that Minecraft. A kid can do this with 5 minutes of just playing around. And then you take it all the way to a creative professional who's been doing this for the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours stuff. And boom, now they're doing that same level. They're doing that same work, but at a completely different level of productivity.
Yeah. And that was very impressive and frankly, very, I would say, innovative, despite the fact, of course, we've seen bits and pieces of this in other contexts. That's a pretty compelling combination. The pen, the dial, the draft board style screen, the very high-res 3:2 screen. All of those things combined to make, I think, a very compelling product for creative professionals.
I'd also be interested in seeing what you get in the way of CAD tools, how quickly they adopt.
That's going to be critical. I mean, but we said that when the iPad came out, or then the iPad Pro came out. Until you get software that takes advantage of these new features, it's not particularly compelling.
Well, you need both. I mean, the iPad Pro still suffers from a platform perspective, I think. There are just capabilities that you just don't get there. So you need that, and then, you need the third-party app support as well.
Right. Paul Thurrott, Thurrott.com, come back at noon. 3 p.m. your time.
I'll be back soon.
And we'll do Windows Weekly. Mary Jo Foley will have come back from the event, and we'll have a hands-on review of whatever hardware she could get to. I presume all of it. Ed Bott is at ZDNet. That's where he writes, right side by side with Mary Jo. And
indeed, we'll be tag teaming this stuff today. Plus, a few of the other folks from ZDNet will be chipping in on this stuff.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. Thank you all for joining me. We also thank our sponsor, Blue Apron, for making this possible. If you want to take advantage of Blue Apron's offer, free First 3 meals free with free shipping. Go to blueapron.com/twit. The next time you get home, there'll be some wonderful Blue Apron food on your doorstep, ready to cook, exactly in the right proportion, with amazing recipes. blueapron.com/twit. I'm Leo Laporte. We will be back tomorrow morning for the Apple event. Find out, this is going to be fun, back and forth. Find out what Apple has to respond to what Microsoft announced today. I have a feeling they'll have other things as well. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.